Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town. Johnny Mac, a good Friday to you, sir. How you doing on this Football Friday morning?
Doing well. We got a little bit of personnel news, which is a little bit rare for this time of year. Terrace Marshall, another wide receiver, as the number 12, I believe, on the Temu shopping cart, comes into Philadelphia. Similar mindset. Liked him back in the 2021 draft. Pretty high pick, didn't live up to his potential in Carolina. Bring him in, see what he can do. And they should, they're really deep up top on the depth chart, but they need some help behind that, especially outside the numbers. You see it when a couple games of A.J. Brown missed. But that was the Devontae Smith draft. So, I think he would have been relevant if the Eagles weren't able to get to Devontae Smith early. They liked him, and he probably would have been in the mix for them but they had an early, that was also the Landon Dickerson draft. So that was a little bit too early. And then you're talking the third round, which was Milton Williams. Great draft for the Eagles, by the way. And then that would have been too late. So, in no man's land from their perspective, and certainly after they got Devontae, as I mentioned, they weren't going wide receiver again. So, but they liked the player back then, and but it's 2025. They do this a lot.
What's the plan with Terrace Marshall? Just tell everybody. I'll tell everybody about him a little bit. He was a 59th overall pick in 2021. Played college ball at LSU. Hasn't been uber productive. His best season was 28 receptions for 490 yards. But John, why is he in Philly? Is this the move on from Dotson? Is this the?
Well, that was a little bit of fear of that, but they wouldn't be saving much money because
that's
remember,
what I mean. I feel like Dotson was already so cheap. There's no really gain there. So
well,
I was thinking more, John. Anais Smith didn't work out great. Johnny Wilson didn't work out great, or maybe Brian Pumper knows all. And Johnny Wilson's about to come a tight end, and they brought in Terrace Marshall for another body at wide receiver.
Well, you need bodies at wide receiver, and they need outside bodies, outside the number bodies, because as I mentioned with A.J. Brown, when he is injured, they really have no replacement, at least from a frame perspective, and somebody who could, just play the position. Marshall can do that to a better degree than what they had. He's much faster than Johnny Wilson, who's got the size, but so from that standpoint, it makes some sense from a trades. Anais Smith, different player, similar to defensive tackle, nose tackle. I mean, he's not an outside receiver anyway. He's more of a slot guy, jet sweep guy, manufactured touch guy. The lone concern, but but Dodson was a first round pick, so he's a 16th overall pick, and he's got his 5th-year option. They'll obviously decline that. But I mentioned, he's the best wide receiver 3 of the Nick Sirianni era, and I hope they're not penny pitching just because he's not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
And they say, well, let's trade him, let's get something, and that type of thing, and save a couple $100,000 because that's all you're going to be saving. But if that is the thought process, I don't like it. But I don't know if that's the thought process, but I have to throw that out there.
Right.
Because I don't, this guy hasn't, I think, and you didn't get to see a lot of volume, but I thought when the ball came Jahan Dotson's way, he made some plays. And I think that's been
late in the year too.
And that's been, that's been a problem in the past for this team. Not that the third receiver is going to get much volume. We know that's not going to happen. But yeah, I thought he did a good job, and I think he's a good player. And it's not, Yeah, all right. There's turnover every year. He's probably not going to be here in 2026. So what? Get the year out of him,
Right.
and try your best. I don't like it from the standpoint of, if that's the sentiment. Again, I'm not saying it is, but if that is the sentiment, I don't like it all. Trying to, get something for him. I get that perspective, but what are you going to get for him?
Yeah, I don't think it's likely. I'm not saying you're wrong, John. I just don't think that's likely that they're trying to move on from Dotson. Maybe. I mean, I think it's plausible, but I don't think that's why they brought in Terrace Marshall.
Well,
Maybe I'm wrong.
I kind of get a Tanner McKee, Kenny Pickett feel here. You save a couple bucks with a former first round pick. This would be lesser because, again, it's not a quarterback, but I don't like the players they have behind, the younger players. And that's why you bring in Marshall. I think they signal about that. They don't believe they had anybody to replace him currently. But if you bring in Marshall, who's a veteran, has had some success, you liked him, you think maybe there's some upside. I'm not saying that's not. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, right. You're just giving people the potential thing of what exists here. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. I don't think that's what's happened. It's possible, but I don't think that's what happened. More feels to me like another camp body team who's signing Johnny Mack. And, hey, here's where I think you might be right. If he outperforms Dotson in camp or something, can you see an August trade or something like that with Jahan Dotson? I could potentially see that. I think we traded for Jahan last year in August, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah, they traded for him in August. Danny Gray, I mean, is a guy on the practice squad. I think he should be, give him a shot. I think he's their best receiver behind the big three, if you want to include Dotson. And Danny Gray was a third-round pick in 2022, one of those 49ers third-round picks they always seem to bring in. And he's got a lot of physical gifts, and everybody would rave about him on the practice squad. He would, sort of be the scout team player that would replicate the opposing team's best wide receiver every week. And, he runs a 4.33 coming out. I mean, give Danny Gray a shot. Terrace Marshall.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get annoyed with these Timo signings.
I can tell. I can sense it on you, Johnny Mack.
But you're really penny pinching if you're going to move on from Jahan Dotson a year early just to save a couple $100,000. So I hope that's not the case. But.
Yeah. I don't think so either. But like I said to you guys, 28 receptions for 490 in 2022 is his best season. So I don't know what kind of upside you're looking for. I mean, obviously you have, looks like, you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I don't think you need crazy upside, but maybe he could be a replacement for Jahan Dotson. We will see what happens with the greatness of Terrace Marshall. But, John, you mentioned it. We are up to, 12 Temu signings on the year?
Yeah, 12. 12, I believe, is the number. I'll double check. And this one's kind of late, so kind of came out of nowhere. But, when AJ was down, I Dotson, that's the one thing. Dotson's not really, he's probably 5'10", 5'11", not really equipped to be that big outside the numbers guy. And Marshall is from a size perspective. But, and I'm going in alphabetical. No, it's not alphabetical order, but I'll just run them down. Harrison Bryant, our guy, superstar. A.J. Dillon, Josh Uche. Xander's a big Josh Uche guy. Charlie Hewlett, I joked. I back when it was at like 10, I ranked them. Who's the most likely to contribute? Charlie Hewlett's number one. He's got to be number one. He's the only guy guaranteed a job. He's going to be your long snapper. So he's going to contribute. Adoree Jackson, Patrick Johnson's back, Avery Williams, Kylan Granson, Azeez Ojulari, Kendall Lamb, Matt Pryor, and now Terrace Marshall Jr. Now, if you want to go by contract, we know everybody but Patrick Johnson, who's minimum. You can pencil that in.
Yeah.
And Marshall, who just signed. And obviously, Aziz got the most money. He got the Zack Baun contract. Not quite as, he did the exact same Zack Baun contract. And that's where the comparison should end. 1 year up to $3.5 million. A lot of incentives in there. Number 2 on the list is your guy, Josh Uche, which tells you edge rushers. And number 3, that is a tie between Adoree Jackson, which makes sense, and Kylan Granson.
Whoa.
So Kylan Granson who's our Harrison Bryant guy?
JD3, where are you?
Kylan Granson got $1.75 million. Poor Harrison Bryant only got 1.2.
Oh man, that's a $500,000 difference nearly. Kylan Granson just usurped your boy. Sorry, JD3. We'll see what happens.
That's not enough money to usurp him, but it does give you a little bit of it.
I'm just saying. I mean, when you have small numbers, Johnny Mac, that's still 30% more, whatever the heck it would turn out to be. But all right, we'll see what happens. How many of these Timu signings, John, are going to make the team in your estimation right now? It's hard to say, probably pre-draft.
Get me after the draft on that. The only ones who are guaranteed to make the team, in my estimation, are Charlie Hewlett, as I just mentioned,
because he's a long snapper, right?
Adoree Jackson, and I would then put. Those are the only guarantees. I would put a bunch of guys at like 90%, but those are the only 2 I'm going to guarantee, barring injury, of course.
I think Adoree Jackson has a good chance to be the starter.
So do I.
Yeah.
Unless they add a corner in the draft, which they've been looking at a lot of corners. There's a lot of guys, like I would put Ojulari at like 90%. I would put A.J. Dillon, if he's healthy, at like 90%, but that's why I don't know if he's healthy. I'd put him up there pretty high. The problem with Granson and Bryan, if you draft a tight end, and I think they're going to draft a tight end over the first 2 days, if you draft a tight end that high, you're probably not keeping both. So they're fighting against each other.
Right.
That's why you can't put a high number on. One of them will make the team, but can't guarantee. Avery Williams, I put at 90% as the kick returner, punt returner.
I actually like that signing. I just thought he was a little bit of a better Britton Covey. I wasn't a Britton Covey guy. I don't know what it was. Might have just been an eye test thing for me. I wasn't a Britton Covey guy.
Well, Britton's hurt now, so it's different. But he was the best punt returner football year too. Avery Williams never done that.
No, I know.
But he's got more versatility, Avery Williams. He can play. Britton wasn't a kick returner. Avery can be your kick returner and punt returner and play on special teams coverage. Covey was very, he's a punt returner and a slot receiver. So, he's much more versatile, so you can save some roster spots if you want to. I don't know if the Eagles want to. Typically, they haven't wanted. Like, I would let him return all kicks and punts. They generally haven't done that. We'll see if they will. And then Nick brought up his manufactured touch ability, and I'm like, come on, dude. We do this every year. They're not using manufactured touch players on a relevant basis. And they're not the only ones. I hate it on every NFL team except for Kyle Shanahan. You got to be, and I say it all the time, and you got to be very disciplined as a coach. And you see it all the time with these manufactured touch guys. In the scripted part, you'll see him get the ball a couple times, and you go, wow. And then in the guts of the game, when you're off script, nobody goes back to it.
Right.
You got to be very disciplined as a coach and a play caller to make sure you keep those guys involved if you think they're going to be relevant. And again, with Avery Williams, that to me is off-season stuff, like you're talking about. With this team, and let's just pretend Dallas Goedert's back for this, with Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, yada, yada, yada. Even Jahan Dotson. You got to take one of these guys off the field. in the guts of a close game, you want your best players on the field. You don't want some manufactured touch guy just for a manufactured touch. So that tends to be what happens, especially with good teams. You don't want you want your best players on the field. Now, if it's 40-10, yeah, go knock yourself out, put them out there. But I wouldn't get too worked up about it.
A note on Terrace Marshall is he was a part of the 2019 LSU National Championship team. And for those who follow college football, that was legitimately probably one of the best college football teams of all time. A team that featured Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran for almost 1,500 yards that year. So he was pretty incredible, or that team was pretty incredible. And Terrace Marshall Jr. was the third wide receiver on that team with 671 yards. And you remember Randy Moss's son was the tight end on that team. So that was a pretty insane team, John. That team also had like Patrick Queen. I mean, that team, Grant Delpit, Kayvon Chason, Kerry Vincent. That team was stacked. Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, that team was insane, that 2019 LSU team. But Terrace Marshall, at least he knows winning, Johnny Mac. Another winner.
Yeah, at the college level at least. But Kerry Vincent, former Eagle. Eagles are getting all the.
That's why I named him there.
All the. It'd be nice to get Jefferson, but yeah, all right. They got Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, we passed on Jefferson, John. That ship has sailed. See you, brother. It all worked out though, because AJ Brown, Devontae Smith are here now, and they brought us a Super Bowl. So good stuff there, John. Another Eagle news. I saw Nick Scorton was in the Texas A&M edge. Took a picture with Brandon Graham. He was supposed to meet with the Eagles last night, I believe, and then it was supposed to continue today. So there is a picture with him with BG. I'll throw up on the screen right now, but. That dude's big, Johnny Mac. What do you think of Nick Scorton and his fit for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I like it. I've mentioned him a couple times. I think
it was reported a little bit ago that he was a top 30
yeah.
visit, right? So
it was already reported, but it was just and obviously then it becomes schedules because these guys are going crisscrossing the country. A lot of them meeting with 5-10 teams. One guy I saw has got 18 visits. I forget who that was.
Holy moly!
Oh, it was Anthony Belton, who had a top 30 or will have a top 30 visit.
Where do you think he'll be drafted? What round? He's a tough one.
Well, now I'm thinking second.
Yeah, right. Me too. I was thinking third originally, but you're telling me 18 teams. I mean, good night.
18 teams he's had visits with. So
he's a guy that people would like the upside or dream of what they can do during, or with them,
Exactly. So that tells me there's a lot of interest and he's probably going to get pushed up the board. And even, he could be that every year there's one or two surprise first round picks. Typically, he might be that guy.
Yeah.
So many teams are interested in him, but if somebody falls in love, that's all it takes. And, maybe the Eagles' success is resonating, and to a lesser degree, Detroit's success is resonating, and people are starting to figure out, hey, offensive line. Let's try to build. You've already seen Chicago.
Just going for bodies doesn't always work out, though. All right, that's the biggest thing.
No, but I'm saying if you like that, people are starting to catch on that if you build a good offensive line, you got a chance to win a lot of games in this league. And, even teams that have struggled, and I bring up Chicago, and for years, Minnesota has struggled on the interior, and they bring in Ryan Kelly and Will Fries for big money. You're right. I mean, one of the things people criticize the New York Giants, I'm at the forefront of that, and they say, well, their offensive line stinks. They've tried to fix it. That part I disagree with because they've taken a lot of top tier picks. Andrew Thomas being the only one that's worked out, and he got hurt last year. But Evan Neal was a first round pick. Will Hernandez was a second round pick. They tried. But to your point, just because you try doesn't guarantee you're going to do it. But you're not going to fix the problem unless you try. I do know that. And teams like Chicago and Minnesota are now trying, and I can't help think that that is because of the success of the Eagles and the Lions. And people starting to wake up to that. Doesn't mean you could build into the Eagles' offensive line overnight. That's very unlikely.
Yeah, right. Still got to get the evaluation right, but the philosophy at least does seem to be changing. Eagles are in good shape, obviously, in that front. So we will see what happens there. Nick Scorton, though, Johnny Mack is a big boy. I mean, he makes Brandon Graham look small in that picture. I see the people in the chat talking about it. They're a big husky dude, and the reason that what I think about, John, is you've been consistent on this. You want a bigger dude at edge, and I'm with you. I mean, we have a bunch of undersized guys. Let's get a bigger sized body in there. So maybe Nick Scorton could be a good option for the Eagles. I'm not sure where he's projected right now. I think he's a tweener too, isn't he? A late first, potentially early second guy.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy, and that's my one concern is probably you don't want to take him at 32. So then you can play that game. But, sometimes you should, if you like a player, you should just stand pat and take him. And breaking news, the Cleveland Browns are bringing back Joe Flacco.
Nice.
Another hit to Shedeur Sanders.
Another hit to Shedeur and a hit to our boy, Kenny Pickett. All right. Yeah. Kenny Pickett. Will Kenny Pickett be the starter over there?
No, but it's I can't believe that's the plan. But right now, I mean, yeah, they signed him to 1 year, $4 million. Obviously, they signed Joe to be the backup. They still need a starter.
Well, what are they doing with Pickett?
Well, that's the point. If you get Kirk Cousins or you draft Shedeur Sanders, which I don't think they're going to do, at least early, they might double in and draft him later. Then all of a sudden, he's third string, probably. That's how quickly it,
Kenny. Come on, Kenny.
But that, I mean, how much does Joe Flacco have left?
I don't think much.
So, I mean, they could
gave him $4 million. I mean,
they could go to camp and say, all right, Kenny's better prepared. So, but yeah, I Kenny's a backup. And if they're starting him, they're not going to be happy. But I think he could, I think he was a good backup here last year. I've said it I think, Kellen Moore will tell you that. Clean operation, baby.
Yeah. We'll see.
He ran a very clean operation when he got a chance. And he hurt his ribs too, and he played through it. So
God, you're a Kenny Pickett guy. I can tell. You're a Kenny Pickett guy.
No, I just think he did a good job as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, he did. There's no doubt about it. I mean, our team didn't.
And for some reason, because he was, he's a first round pick. He started in Pittsburgh. He wasn't very good, although he won a lot of games. Right. Statistically, wasn't great. People, that's what they do with quarterbacks. If you're not great, you suck. Basically.
That's so true. Speaking of our boy Kellen Moore, I want to go to my boy Anton Baroda. All right, this is our optimistic Aussie, Johnny Mac, but he normally can't watch Bears 365 live because he's in freaking Australia. So he's in here today for his first time live. Anton, appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well over there. Hope you're having a good off season. He says Shedeur will end up at pick 9. Mark my words, he's going to play.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I think
there's some hype about Las Vegas, which is, I believe, is 6. I'll tell you what, though.
Brady worked out with Shedeur, so people think that connection. Is that what's going on there?
Well, Gino's the starter now. That'd be a good spot for him because he doesn't have to start right away. I think that would be a good spot for him. But they have to look long. They have to think about long term as well. But I'll tell you, if he gets by 6 and 9, then you're going to see the fall to Pittsburgh probably. Right. But yeah, 9's a possibility.
I think that's a good fit for him too, because Shedeur's got a pro style. I mean, he's a pro style type quarterback. He's not like this uber athletic guy. So I actually like the fit for him with Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I don't mind it, and that's another because he doesn't have to play right away. Like he's not ready to play.
Right.
So I think both of those spots would be good for him. I think Cleveland would be terrible for him because
Cleveland would stink.
they're going to push him on the field right away, most likely. And I think it's pretty clear. There's no way he's going 2 or 3 now. I mean, the Giants can't take him. Can't. I mean, those guys are not quite Walking Dead characters, but, and I'm talking about Dayball and Joe Shane,
Yeah,
but they're holding on.
They're close.
They're holding on, and if they draft him at 2 or 3, yeah, both. I mean, they're Walking Dead characters. They're done. They're kaput. They can't do that. That's why they signed Russell Wilson.
John, am I wrong in this philosophy? Because this is what I've grown to believe, especially in the modern game where everything is rushed, everything is immediate gratification, everything is immediate results or it's over. I like putting quarterbacks on the bench for a year. I mean, look at what Andy did with Patrick Mahomes. He did it back in the day, obviously, with Donovan McNabb. Hurts unintentionally was on the bench for most of his first year. I just think it's better to let Jordan Love set the bench for a little bit. Aaron Rodgers set the bench for a little bit.
I love it.
I think that's the better move. They draft these quarterbacks, throw them into the fire of the NFL game, and if they don't work in the first 6 weeks, they're written off. Like I don't think that's a good approach, especially for a
terrible approach.
So,
but there's so much pressure if you take a quarterback high in the draft to get on. I mean, that's the thing, and there's so much.
Yeah, but if
I always say it's a public-facing industry,
and you're going to draft a quarterback, and you don't have patience to see it through for longer than the first year, I mean, that's a you problem. That's not a quarterback problem or a coach problem.
No, I mean, Kevin O'Connell says it all the time. Organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail organizations.
Right.
I love that quote. So he was a quarterback, obviously, but so he knows, and he's sort of the quarterback guy now in the league. And yeah, he advocates that. But even that team, like we joke about it here. Sam Darnold had a good fucking season. Guess what? If J.J. McCarthy doesn't get hurt, I don't know when, but he would have been on the field last year. I don't know when. It would have been stupid, yes. After Sam had a bad game, they would have put him on the field. It's just the way it works. I'm with you, but it's it's easy to say, but, there's so much pressure on these organizations to get these players on the field. And that's why I don't want to that's why when there's not a quarterback worthy, I'm not talking about last year, and you even saw it with Caleb Williams, who is enormously talented, and he didn't look great last year. And Jaden Daniels obviously did, and Drake May with a very bad team, but those 3 guys specifically deserved where they were at. And you can debate which one of them should have went 1 and 2. I was a Daniels guy, but Williams is unbelievably gifted, and so is Drake May. Cam Ward ain't them. And forget about Shedeur Sanders and anybody else.
Yeah, no.
So I hate taking quarterbacks like that in the top 10 because there's so much pressure to get them on the field early, and they're not ready to be on the field early.
Cilio had an interesting take on the quarterback, John, yesterday on his show when I was speaking with him. Because of the overall weak nature of this quarterback class, Cilio says to me, if I'm a quarterback needy team, I think I'm getting more value out of Will Howard in the 3rd or 4th round than trying to reach on one of these dudes in round 1. Will Howard had obviously a career at Ohio State. He's a winner. He used because he knows Eagles fans always say that about Jalen Hurts. And he's like, I think there's more value there. And it's hard for me to disagree with him at that because, let's just say you're Kellen Moore. You want to take Will Howard in the 3rd, or would you rather take Shedeur Sanders at 9? I mean, I like Shedeur, so I'd probably go Sanders. But from a sheer value standpoint, building a team, if your team has a lot of needs, I mean, taking Will Howard in the 3rd or 4th makes a lot more sense.
Well, I mean, there's no pressure to play him, so you can get him, and then you have to trust you have to have a good group in place to teach quarterbacks. So yeah, from the pressure standpoint, I would agree. But there's a significant difference between the talent level of Will Howard and Shedeur Sanders, or even Jalen Milroe as a developmental project.
Right.
They have much higher ceilings. So that's and even Jackson Dart, I would throw in that category. And Tyler Shuck, what do we call him?
Shuck, baby. That's right. I was listening to the NFL Network yesterday, John. They were talking about him, and they were saying
the league
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, the league likes Tyler Shuck much more than your average draft guide or whoever you like. And we have some great ones here on the show we're lucky enough to talk to. But the league seems to like him a lot better. Now, he's old. That's a concern. And that he's almost, he's 25 and a half.
Yeah, the only time I'm interested in an older player is if it's a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, a day 3 pick or a late day 2 pick, and you're just looking for a contributor. And then like the Eagles would make sense.
Quarterback's a position you can play for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true. I was more talking the Eagles, but you're right. I mean, quarterback would be one that you could make it work. I mean, they have obviously a lot longer of a shelf life. But if you're the Eagles, like people sometimes say, "Oh, don't look at 25-year-olds or 24-year-olds." I agree. I mean, I more prefer the young guys, and the Eagles do too, and that's the right philosophy. But for a team that's trying to go back to the Super Bowl and you need contributors in the draft, maybe you get a 24-year-old who's good for 3 years. That's what you needed them for, like a Milton Williams, and you move on. I don't think that's a bad thought.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has to do with position too. I mean, I obviously I don't want a 25-year-old running back.
No,
I don't want a 25-year-old cornerback.
What about the 25-year-old DT? That's what I'm thinking.
That's sort of in between. Depends on the prospect, but no, I'd rather always have the younger kid. But I'm just saying. If you have a really good prospect at certain positions, quarterback being one of them, offensive line, specifically those two, I would say, I'll take a 25-year-old if he's really good, because you're going to have a long shelf life. Either way, maybe not as long, but if you get in the modern NFL, if you get 10 years out of a player, I think you're happy. I mean, you could dream about Brandon Graham and Lane Johnson and guys who play forever, but that's not the reality for most players. And so it depends on a lot of things, but the positions that you need a lot of athleticism, or you take a pounding like running back or linebacker, I don't want a 25.
No, right. I agree with that for sure. John, who is your prediction for who will be the most successful quarterback that's not the top 2 guys, not Cam Ward, not Shedeur? Like, there's a bunch of dudes that are like projected kind of all over the place. Jackson Dart, Milroe, Will Howard, I just named, Riley Leonard. There's a bunch, Tyler Shuck. There's a bunch of dudes in there. Which one of those do you like the best?
Milroe.
Me too.
Because I'm looking at Milroe's. Milroe's got a higher ceiling than Cam Ward, to be honest.
The thing I like about Milroe is that the game is so now, it's so friendly to the dual threat quarterback now. And because you have that athleticism, it gives you more time to, develop while also still being good, because your athleticism gives you an advantage. Back in the day when Tom Brady came in, he couldn't be good until he learned how to read a defense properly. He couldn't.
Well, no quarterback can be good.
No, I know, but when you have your legs, John, you can bail yourself out of positions.
Well, yeah, you can make something out of nothing, but you can't build an offense around that. So, you can make a play. I always go back to Josh Dobbs when he had that little run, and he's just using his athleticism, and everybody's like, "Oh, the Pastronaut, and what a story!" And then, 4th week, 5th week, he stinks because he can't play the position. And, eventually that's going to catch up to you. So Milroe's the classic boomer bust guy. you know. Right now, he can't play quarterback, but if somebody can teach him how to play quarterback, he's going to be really flipping good. And, you know, that's what you're betting on, especially, you know, for him. I could see somebody coming up and getting him at 32, but if you get him in the second round or the third round,
I think second for Milroe.
That's a worthy dart throw. If you're asking me about all the quarterbacks in it who can play right now, I go Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, man. Dylan Gabriel's good, but he's a lefty, so that just makes it, you got to flip your offense. I think that's harder to do than people think.
I mean, he just knows how to play the position.
Yeah, he does.
And he's got a lot of size to fit. That's his big issue.
Yeah.
He's also one of those 24-ish, so he's played a lot of college football. That's part of the reason. But I think he's got a chance to be a very good backup for a very long time. But if you're talking about upside, and I go, Cam Ward's by himself. I put him by himself, even though I don't think he's a Caleb Williams level prospect. But in this group, he's clearly the best. But then from the upside, it's Milroe, number one for me. And then number two is Tyler Shuck. Like, he's got everything you want to be an NFL pocket quarterback.
I think he has a higher floor, not a high ceiling, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying it's high. I'm saying it's higher.
Yeah, higher than some other guys. All right, yeah. I got you.
Yeah, I don't like any of them. And I probably Kyle McCord, like I like Kyle McCord better than I like Will Howard. And that's interesting because he was at Ohio State and he transferred to Syracuse and set every fucking record they had.
Yeah.
And Will Howard did it, won the national championship. So I'm not, he did a good job as well. But I just like McCord better. But I don't like any of them. Riley Leonard, give me a break.
Yeah, no, not on him.
He's like a poor man's Tim Tebow.
Yeah, seems like a good dude, but I mean,
he's a great leader. That's why
I don't want to see a quarterback in my NFL team. Sorry, Riley, I just don't.
Yeah, he can run. He's kind of goofy looking when he does run, but he's very effective. And I think people assume he's not athletic, but he's really athletic. But he just can't throw the football. Somebody could figure that out. You might have something with him, but I don't know how you teach somebody to throw the football this late in the process.
Right.
But, he's 6'4", he's 220, he's athletic. You can do design runs. He's big, he's physical, but he can't throw it. It's Tim Tebow.
Yeah, he can't. John, how much stock do you think teams put in, like the intangibles of the quarterback position?
A lot.
And that's I more mean like you always say about coaching, people have no idea how much shit a head coach has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like they think it's, coach the team, draw up X's and O's and plays. And it's so much more than that. There's media, there's ownership, there's all sorts of things. I kind of view quarterback as the same thing for the players, right? The quarterback has to deal with so much more shit than all of the other players. Do you think teams I'm sure they do, but how much stock do they put in trying to gauge which quarterbacks will handle that the best? Because let's be real, you got to be able to handle that to be successful in the NFL. It's not just about your talent on the field. That's where I think Shedeur is head and shoulders above the rest because he's been listening to this shit since he was a child, So I think he's going to be able to be more prone to handle some of the outside noise.
Well, yeah, I mean, that part of it, sure. Yeah, because dealing with the media and dealing with fans and dealing with criticism, right. That's a big part of it. And some people handle that better than others, to say the least.
Yeah,
but
i.e. Jalen Hurts versus Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's a good example. But yeah, quarterbacks in general, it's a position that demands leadership by its very nature. So you have to be a leader. People have to believe in you. People have to follow you. Let's go back to Parcells and Polian and, how they evaluated quarterbacks. And it was basically, well, you got to hit a certain level from a trait standpoint to play in the NFL. Like we just talked about Ryan Leonard. Like he's got all the leadership. Everybody loves the kid. He's been at Duke. He's smart. Notre Dame. He's smart as hell. But he can't throw the ball. Right. He doesn't have that trait.
Yeah, but your football talent does come first.
So you have to hit that threshold. And then after that threshold comes the leadership part of it, comes the football IQ part of it, the intelligence part of it. You have to know the offense. Remember, if you're a wide receiver, you don't have to know the whole offense. You got to know what you have to do.
Right.
The quarterback has to know what everybody's doing on every play, all 11 guys. So you have to have a high football IQ, and then processing is immense. And that is once you get on the field, once you have that trait, those athletic traits. So the difference between Jamarcus Russell and any other uber talented quarterback is, he just didn't have it from the standpoint of understanding the game, the football IQ, and the processing skills. And especially now with all the Vic Fangio style defenses that try to mask things at the snap, like you got to process things quickly post snap and know exactly what's going on from a coverage standpoint. So that's difficult. You almost have to be the guy. And that's what Polian always says. You almost have to be the guy who's in there first and leaves last.
Right. No choice. Yeah. You got to. Do they still do the Wonderlic test?
No.
They discontinued it, right? Yeah. I think that was.
And it's not about, that was unfair because I think CJ Stroud had he had a bad virtual thing, but there's a lot of guys who bet like you could be not very smart from a book standpoint or
right,
and be extremely smart in a football perspective. And that's what they're looking for, the football perspective part of it. Not necessarily if you know your American history.
Yeah, right. I thought the Wonderlic was more like a speed test, not a speed test, but isn't it like a timed thing? It's kind of, but I mean, for a quarterback, I thought it was important just because of the processing that you have to do, in real time in seconds at the line of scrimmage. So I thought
that's why everybody made a big deal out of the testing, the CJ Stroud thing, which was virtual and, designed to really hamper down, not problem solving, but really hamper down on football. And he had a really bad score and everybody made a big deal out of it. And then he showed up and he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, right. Certainly not the number one indicator, but.
No. So, I mean, that's something you almost have to see on the field. And, analytics, people hate it. Scouts will scream it, sometimes and that part of it is you one thing analytics people, one thing I've learned about them, they hate when they can't put a number on something.
Yes.
There's certain things you can't put a number on.
And I don't like that about analytics people. I'm sorry. I do not.
And on the other hand, you can't just ignore data. So it works both ways. And you can't ignore, when they look at traits and they say, well, if you're 6'5" and you have 34-inch arms, you're more likely to succeed being an edge rusher in the NFL. You should pay attention to that.
Yeah, you should pay attention, but that's where you have to be able to draw the fine line because there's a human element, I think, that's can't be left out with the analytics role. That's my knock on analytics. I've never disliked analytics at all. I've always thought it could be, there's obviously good reasons to use it to improve your chances and all those things, but you got to still have the human element. And sometimes I think they remove that because of the things you can't quantify.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's some guys are, they might have all the talent in the world, but they don't have the work ethic. And some guys, might have the work ethic, but they don't have the talent. And, that's what makes it hard. And, other guys, it's just obvious because they're so gifted. And that's where it was with Jaden Daniels last year. I'm like, this guy's going to be good. I don't know how good, but he's going to be good. And, lo and behold, he's good.
No doubt about it. Good stuff there. Johnny Mac, great opening segment today. Terrace Marshall, the latest Temu signing, is in the building. Johnny Mac was joking about it pre-show. It was pretty funny. But good stuff. So we got a new wide receiver in the building. What will they do? We'll talk about that. Plenty to do here on this Football Friday edition of Birds 365. I will open up in hour number 2. I got a good topic coming up out of the break here, but I will open up in hour number 2 for any questions from the chat as well. Last Friday, our boy Abe put in a chat about the Mount Rushmore. We had a great conversation about that. So if you guys have a conversation or a topic or anything you guys want to ask here in the offseason, we will take that at the end of hour number 2. All right. So thank you all for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button. Likes have been doing pretty good this week. We appreciate everybody watching. John, good viewership, man, for Birds 365 all through the offseason so far. So we do appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching the show, listening, commenting, subscribing, doing everything you guys do. We appreciate that. So we'll be right back here on Birds 365. I got a topic on Zack Baun. What do you think? We haven't talked about Zack Baun in a little bit. We'll do that when we come back here on Birds 365.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to Birds 365, a Football Friday edition of the show. As we wrap up another week, we are 13 days away from the first round of the NFL Draft. And in 2 weeks from now, which I think will be a bigger day for the Philadelphia Eagles, will be day 2 of the draft, rounds 2 and 3. So that is 14 days from today, right around 14 days and 12 hours. So we'll be kicking off that round 2 and round 3, which should be a good one. Johnny Mac, a little bit of news just came out while we were in the break here. Houston locked up a safety. Jalen Petrie gets $39 million. The reason I think that's worth mentioning here on Birds 365 is they just traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And now they gave the other safety, Jalen Petrie, who's a good player down there, $39 million.
Yeah, you know what that means. CJ is probably 1 year and done there.
CJ's gone, so in Houston, he's a 1-year rental for them, most likely. Yeah. But, boy, they're paying everybody down there in Houston. That Nick Caserio, I think he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, he's done a good job. They've turned it around. They're a good team. They got to see if they can take that next step. There was some adjustment to CJ Stroud, which doesn't surprise me at all. I think you're going to see a similar thing this year with Jaden Daniels. And he's probably a better quarterback for it, but people will say right off the bat that, CJ Stroud wasn't as good. Statistically wasn't as good. He probably learned a lot. And we'll see. This will be the key.
I mean, he still took his team to the playoffs last year. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
very good player.
Yeah,
so no matter how good. And interesting, you bring up Petrie, but Joe Flacco, this might be the biggest I've ever seen.
I know, up to $13 million.
$4 million contract, incentives up to 13, which obviously are based on whether he plays and starts.
Right.
But you usually don't see that disparity. So, yeah. I mean, they made the playoffs with Joe Flacco a couple of years ago. People forget that.
How old is Joe Flacco now? Is he 40?
Gotta be. It's 39, 40. Let's see. South Jersey, went to Delaware. Big Martin Frank guy. Martin's had to follow Joe Flacco around for seems like 40 years, but he is 40. And there's a diner in Audubon, New Jersey, that if you stop by, not giving anybody a free plug, but if you stop by, you might see Joe Flacco every once in a while. If you're local.
Yeah. Good stuff there. So that's the update. Jalen Petrie gets a big deal down in Houston. We'll see what happens with Gardner-Johnson. And as John just mentioned, obviously, Joe Flacco going to the Browns. That's a big upside for him. So we'll see what happens there. John, I want to talk about Zack Baun. It's been a bit since we've talked about our boy Zack Baun, all right? I mean, we talked about him when he got his contract extension. Before he got his contract extension, we called him, we talked about him as one of the most important pieces of the offseason to bring back. Well, he's back, and he's making big money at linebacker, and he's coming off a first-team All-Pro year when Vic resurrected, or not resurrected, but found something in him that others did not find in him and made him one of the best linebackers in football. Now going into year 2 in Philly, John, what are realistic expectations for Zack Baun this year? You lost a lot of guys on defense, John, and if you want this defense to be top 10 again or top 5 or whatever the case, whatever you want them to be, I think it's going to be less about the replacements and more about the staples. Jalen Carter, Zack Baun, Quinyon Mitchell. Those guys have to continue to elevate their game, and the rest of the defense, I believe, will rise as well. But speaking of Zack Baun, what's realistic expectation for him coming into year 2 in Philly?
Difference maker. I mean, that's why the Eagles signed him. And it's not a matter of, I said he's a priority or you said he's a priority. The Eagles said he was a priority. He was their number 1 priority. They weren't going to lose him. Howie said that multiple times now. They did their unscripted show. He said it again on there. People can hear it from his own mouth. They think he's a difference maker. Same as Saquon Barkley. So when people say they're not paying a running back, well, typically that's true. But they make exceptions for difference makers. Same thing with Zack Baun. So, to me, I know everybody likes statistics. He's unlikely. I just talked about it with CJ Stroud. Unlikely to have similar statistics just because that's really hard to do. Does he remain a difference maker? Is he at a first team all pro level? Is he at a second team all pro level? That's acceptable. I would dare say, but Howie called him a difference maker. That's why he's here. He's got to continue to be a difference maker. And what that looks like depends on a bunch of different things. And, they got to rework the defensive line. That makes it easier on the linebackers. Do they get Nick Scorton? Yeah. Do they get a defensive tackle that can help? That would help Zack Baun. Or are they forced to play Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche and Moro Ajomo for major snaps? Probably not going to be as good. But, he can be a difference maker in his own world. And that's what the Eagles are looking for. And that's what the Eagles believe he is.
How much difference will it make to not have Milton and Josh Sweat in front of him? Because he made a lot of tackles on that side of the field, obviously. I think linebacker performance is largely helped or hurt by the play of those in front of him. Now, you still have Jalen Carter. You still have Nolan Smith. You still got Jalix Hunt. But you did lose a large portion of that defensive line. How much could that impact Zack Baun's play?
Yeah, a ton. I just, if they, right now, they're not going to be as good. Because of the players they lost, and I haven't been able to replace them yet. Now, draft is still coming. Other avenues to get better. But yeah, if they have to play certain guys, they're not going to be as good as they were when they were playing certain guys last season. But they're still, they still have a nice core with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith. And then it's to be determined from there. Those are the three guys that have to be your staples. And the other guys, it's more of, let's see if they develop. You want to add to that, whether it's, again, a Nick Scorton, since he's in today. Whether it's Walter Nolan, somebody who Devin Jackson liked yesterday on the show. Can you get a player like that right off the bat to help right away? And can you add from there? Because I think they're going to double down on the defensive front. You're at least going to see 2, maybe even 3 new bodies from the draft. Because they have to rebuild it. They have to replenish it, not rebuild, because they have some good players, but replenish it. Because it's a rotational position. Jalen Carter's going to play a lot. We know that. But the other guys, you don't want to wear down, especially a lot of them on the edge are so undersized. That's one of the reasons I like Nick Scorton. Get some size out there.
Right.
You need 4 edge rushers. Now, Vic got through the end of the season with 3, and he said he was comfortable with it. But remember, that's a small sample size.
Right.
That's not 21 games.
Yeah, across a full season, you need more than 3 guys.
Yeah. So they need to replenish the defensive front. And that, to me, is the biggest weakness as we sit here today. Which is a very good team. Anytime, you're talking about depth more than starters, but they got to replenish that group, which was a really good group and dominated the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know why people don't see that, but they get focused on the sizzle and the offense and this and that. The defensive front, same as the Giants upsetting the Patriots, the defensive front dominated that game. Dominated. And everything else built off of that.
Impressive stuff there. The other question on the defensive line is Jordan Davis. I mean, I think he also helped out Zack Baun a lot. He eats up a lot of those blockers on those first downs. How much is he an impact, and how much does he help a guy like Zack Baun? And I think that factors into their decision on Jordan Davis, right? I mean, maybe not, but I think it does.
Well, I think the Jordan Davis stuff is overblown, but they're going to pick up his option. The only question is, are they going to work out an extension? But they're going to use it as a placeholder at the bare minimum. And, it's about, I think a lot of people don't understand. It's not 2025. He's here. It's 2026. So even if they decline his option, which I don't think they're going to do, he's still here.
Yeah, for this year.
Yeah.
Well, here would be my biggest question to you about Jordan Davis. And we've talked about this before, but we haven't talked about this specific aspect of it. The question for me on Jordan Davis would be, what does Vic Fangio want? Because if Vic Fangio would rather be able to stop the run with a four-man front and stay in that four-man front, then maybe they look for a defensive tackle with more versatility at their first overall pick, and then they feel better about moving on from Jordan Davis. If he doesn't want to go four-man front in early running downs, and he's perfectly good to go to the five-man front, well, then Jordan Davis makes a lot of sense. But if Vic says, "Oh, I'd be a much better defense if I can get home, if I can stop the run with four-man front on first down."
Well, everybody thinks that. Like, you always want to be in a four-man front and be able to stop the run with a light box. But Vic has been around for 40 years. He knows that's not always possible.
Right.
It's the same thing. He doesn't like the blitz. He doesn't like the blitz because he wants those people in coverage. In a best case world, he doesn't want to blitz at all. But sometimes you have to because you're not getting home with a four-man rush. So, I mean, Vic's smart enough to understand he knows all these tools. But what happened last year, they were so effective, number one defense, that, and especially on first down when Jordan Davis did play, all right, it's 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11 or 2nd and 12 at times, or even 2nd and 9, whatever. That's a successful down for the defense. Then you can bring in the four-man front. It's known pass, as offensive people will call it. You're playing the odds. Then you bring in the pass rushers.
Right.
Now, and again, I've said this a bunch of times on the show, it's almost counterintuitive, but for Jordan Davis to prove his value, they need to be less successful on first down because then he's playing more. But then he's not as valuable because they're not as successful on first down.
Right. He's a tough one, Jordan Davis.
Well, I don't think he's tough for Vic at all. Like Vic wants him because he knows the value. But yeah, from a contract standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's tougher because of where he was drafted, which shouldn't matter, but it does. How much value does a player who plays so few snaps have? I mean, it's just part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and if he plays well, he plays less. I mean, that's the weirdest part about it. Yeah, let's give Jordan Davis the big money, and when he plays great, he's going to play less and less and less snaps. That's a tough thing to gauge. That's it's going to be interesting to see.
From a football perspective, it's not tough at all for Vic. From a business perspective,
I'm talking business.
Yeah, from a business, it's very tough to gauge. All right, what is the value of this player? And that's what makes it difficult. I mean, if money didn't come into it, Vic would just be like, yeah, we need this guy, but money comes into it. So it would be nice to find, an undrafted guy who could stop the run. But I said that from day one when they drafted him. I said, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah. Is that your best day of draft evaluation on a player? You nailed that sucker like 20 minutes after the pick, Johnny Mac.
Well, it's that part of it, I mean, I nailed that they were trading up for Jordan Davis. I'm more proud of that.
Yeah,
I
you nailed the esoteric thing, though, because we're 3 years later waiting for his 5th-year option to come, and we're still saying the same exact thing.
Yeah. Well, but that's just from learning the NFL over the years. That's more of just like I think a lot of people one of my pet peeves all the time is like people don't label positions correctly. And this goes to the league itself.
Yes.
Like I think one of the dumbest things is the franchise tag because they be like all offensive linemen are lumped together. So tackles are bringing that number up for centers and guards and vice versa. All-ball linebackers versus edge rushers. Sometimes, people still talk about 3-4, 4-3. The labeling is out of whack.
Right.
And because of that, like even if you go on a smart site like PFF, they have all the defensive tackles lumped together. Like, why aren't the nose tackles separate from the defensive tackles? The three techniques.
Even in the draft prep, like you don't really find a lot on nose tackles. You just see defensive tackle.
Same thing with corners. Outside corners are lumped with slot corners.
Right.
Why? They're different positions. Vic had it back and forth with Jeff McClain once. He's like, well, corner. No, and Vic's like, no, corner's outside. Slot is slot. And it's like arguing with Vic Fangio. I'm like, the fucking guy.
Yeah,
it's a different fucking position.
This guy's the godfather of defense in the NFL in the last like 25 years.
And I'm not picking on Jeff. I mean, most people think Jeff's way, and I'm like, it bothers me, and it bothers me because the league does it. Like depth charts, I was so excited, way more excited than I should have been when the Eagles finally put together their depth chart, like the way they played defense. I was excited by it. But anyway, yeah, the labeling is out of whack.
Yeah,
like you hear people throwing around like really guys who played the game really smart. Who plays a fucking 3-4? Point to the team that plays a 3-4 or a 4-3 in the modern game. When are 3 linebackers on the field?
Yeah, right.
When are 4 linebackers on the field? And they'll say, well, Josh Sweater's a linebacker. He was a defensive end for 6 years or whatever. And then he wanted to change his number for some reason. So he couldn't be 19 and be labeled as a defensive end. So they labeled him as a linebacker so he could change his number. He's an edge defender.
Yeah, that is stupid. That is stupid.
Like, yeah, it's very frustrating. So, people should label things better. And one of the things they need to label better is nose tackles versus defensive tackles. So, in other words, Jalen Carter plays a much different position than Jordan Davis. That's not to say they will not occasionally, Jordan Davis will occasionally play in a 4-man front and play even a 3 technique on rare occasion.
That's what I think he has to get better at. I know you say he doesn't, or I shouldn't want that, but you got to have some versatility. Like John, for example, if they run up tempo, you can't be struggling because Jordan Davis is still on the field. You got Jaden Daniels in the division now. He's going to be running a lot of up tempo.
Well, I mean, you can hope he's going to get better. I know, and he got better in the playoffs,
right? But that's not what he's making.
But I'm saying, what I'm saying is, in the longer term, see, I think people in your situation, if you have to stay on the field, that's why offenses run tempo. That's why they do it.
Yeah,
because they don't want you to be able to substitute. And in those types of situations, yes. But for the people that say, well, he's got to be on the field on 3rd and 13. Why would you want him on the field on 3rd and 13? I mean, you got to have a better pass rusher. I'm just talking about the reality of the player, not that he can't improve but he's never going to be a guy you want on the field in a 3rd and 13 situation. And if you do, just to prove he's worth this amount of money, you're going to start losing football games. I mean, you got to have a better pass rusher.
Yeah. Esoteric, the perfect word for Jordan Davis. But good stuff there with the defensive line with Zack Baun. So the realistic expectations, I like what you said, John, a difference maker for Zack Baun this year. Coming off a first-team All-Pro, though, and John, you tell people this a lot. You'll say the same thing on Saquon. Maybe don't expect first-team All-Pro, best linebacker in the league again. I think he has a chance to do it, but it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. So we'll see what Zack Baun does. Let's get to a couple of our chats. I got to thank one of our great members here, Johnny Mac. Chris A.M. gives 10 memberships this morning. Chris, thank you, brother. That means a lot to the channel. We appreciate your support. He's one of our best viewers. Can't catch every show live, but he is a great supporter. He always comments. Chris, I always see your comments, brother. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, man, for gifting out the 10 memberships. And speaking of it, we will have some giveaways today on the at the end of the show on Zander Time. So 10 new members will have a chance to win thanks to Chris A.M. Chris, thank you, brother. We appreciate that very much. Philip Colon checks in. What's up, Philip? Hope you're doing well, brother. He says, how big of a drop does our defense have? Thinking we are still bottom half of top 10. Hunt is the real deal. Still got a draft to let Howie cook. Philip, I don't know if you were here yesterday on the show. We did talk about the floor of the defense yesterday. But Johnny Mac, your response to Philip, how big of a drop does our defense have?
Well, I mean, it's a work in progress. Incomplete, as Howie said. Yeah, right now, I mean, yeah, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not going to. It's incomplete. They have to add. They have to replenish.
My prediction this year, John, is they're going to finish top 5 again.
Well, they're going to get players then.
Yeah. Well,
the group that is assembled right now, which nobody should care about or worry about because the draft hasn't even taken place, is not going to be top 10 if they're forced to play Azeez Ojulari major snaps and Josh Uche major snaps and Jalix Hunt major snaps. I've said it pretty consistently. They will not go into this season with their top edge rushers being Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt. They will not. Jalix Hunt, number 3, that's what they want. They want Nolan to be a starter. And we'll see how, if that final 9 games can extrapolate to a full season. We'll see about that. But they don't want Jalix Hunt starting. Can Kaylee Ringo step up? It's a big if. He's not going to be Darius Slay. You got a Dory Jackson as your insurance policy. The Eagles are still looking at a lot of corners, which tells you what they think about their depth at that situation. They lost a lot of bodies. Isaiah Rodgers played well when he had to. Avonte Maddox, I know people didn't like, but he was very valuable as a guy who could play backup slot. He could play backup dime. He could play safety. That's why they're looking at all these corners because they know they need to replenish their depth. Same thing with defensive front. Linebacker, N'Kobe will be back. I'm not as concerned as most people with that. And I do think Jeremiah Trotter's a player they really like. Still, you need a little bit more depth. They moved Ben Van Sumer into fullback. And Nick Settle cross-trained, but he's mainly a fullback now. And then safety. You lost a big-time playmaker who's a big-time pain in the ass at times. But on the field, it's hard to disparage what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did for this team. I mean, he was here in 2022. They made the Super Bowl. He left. They were terrible. They made the Super Bowl. He came back, and now he's gone again.
Right.
It's
not all because of him, but he's a part of it for sure. Yeah.
And Sidney Brown is the guy they're given the opportunity to, and we'll see. They'll bring in an insurance policy. It might be Justin Simmons. They might draft a safety. But yeah, right now, I mean, they got a lot of things they need to replenish, but that's fine. They're incomplete. But yeah, I mean, I to assume Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt and Kaylee Ringo and Sidney Brown and, Adoree Jackson, if you want to go to the depth, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., on and on and on, to assume all those guys are going to step up and perform at a really high level, I don't like those odds. Ojulari and Josh Uche, I don't like those odds. It's a lot of guys hitting at the same time. Probably not going to happen.
How magical is Vic Fangio? We're about to find out because, boy, he's got a litany of Temu signings to work with this year.
Yeah, well, all you have to do is look at Miami. I think a lot of people forget Miami was really good on defense for most of that year, and then they suffered a bunch of injuries, specifically on the edge. And when you lose guys like it was Van Ginkel, it was who was their other big time pass rusher? The Jalen kid. What's his last name? Phillips. Anyway, their other big time edge rusher. Jalen Phillips. They weren't very good. They had to pick people up off the street to play in the playoff game to rush the passer in the playoffs. All right, Vic is the best defensive coordinator in football. I say that pretty consistently. He's not a magic man. If you lose big-time players, it affects you. And the Eagles lost some big-time players. No, you're muted, I think.
I got it. Philip, thank you for the super chat, brother. We will see what happens with the defense this year. I'm getting the sense, Johnny Mac, that you know something, John. Are you privy to information you can't yet share? Johnny Mac has some confidence, I think I'm sensing, for later, for the acquisition process later in the
Well,
offseason.
I know they're not starting next season with a rotational rush of Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Azeez Ojulari, and Josh Uche. They're not. Mark it down. I've said it before, but what are we, April 11th? They are not starting the season with that as their pass rushing group.
Is there a big Howie move coming, John? I'm sensing there might be a Howie move coming.
There's always a big Howie move coming.
That's true.
He said it. How many times has he said it? Be patient. Be patient. Something's coming.
Something's coming. How big will it be? That's the question. We will see what Howie's got up his sleeve. I'm telling you, he's working it now. Let's see. Abe checks in. Abe, my boy. What's up, Abe? Hope you're doing well, brother. I appreciate you. Member for 8 months. Boy, Abe, time flies when you're having fun. He says, this is bold, but why not? Trade a first and a third for Will Anderson Jr. so the Texans can use the picks for O-lineman and trade Goddard for Njoku. Abe, what is this, Madden? You can't just trade for Will Anderson Jr.?
Come on. Yeah. Why would Houston want to make that trade? Will Anderson Jr. is a great player. They got a great pass rush. They have Danielle Hunter as well. Yeah. And then, the whole thing about the Eagles moving on from Dallas Goedert is they want to save money. I think Njoku makes more than he does. And why would Cleveland want to trade Njoku? Come on. Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing about moving on from Dallas Goedert is about saving money, not bringing in money. So, but they're good players.
Abe says they need O-lineman. Abe's looking for anything.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. You don't say, hey, I need offensive linemen, so I'm going to give up one of the best young pass rushers.
Best edge rushers in football. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. They sent their O-lineman, Abe, to us, brother. We got the greatness of Kenyon Green, baby. That's why they don't have O-linemen. They sent him to us. They also sent Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders.
And by the way, there's another team. They tried to fix their offensive line issues, but they haven't succeeded.
Yeah, you got to
succeed. Kenyon Green at 15. They took Laramie Tunsil's a first-round pick. All these teams, not all of them, because some haven't tried. Seattle, most notably. It seems Minnesota, most notably. They've tried a tackle, but they haven't tried on the interior. They seem to be getting smarter. Chicago, but you got to do it. That's the hard part. The Eagles invest in the offensive line, and they constantly invest. And other teams they're caught in. It's another where you have to give Jeffrey Lurie a gold star. The patience. They don't give a shit. Yeah, they know. Believe me, they know what you're complaining about. They know, they hear, they got rabbit ears, but they also are disciplined enough to say, all right, we don't care. We're gonna build this team the right way.
They care.
Oh, they hear it.
Yeah.
And they get annoyed by it. Trust me.
Which means they care, because if they didn't care, they wouldn't get annoyed.
But no, they do care. I'm saying they get annoyed by it.
Yeah.
And I often tell certain people there, I say, who gives a shit? But, they hear it, yes, and they know it, but they're disciplined enough to say, all right, we're still going to build the team the right way. That's the hard part. You can care. You can have the rabbit ears. Everybody, when you insult people, everybody has rabbit ears. But there's also people that can be disciplined and still go about things the right way. And that's what the Eagles have proven they've been able to do over a pretty lengthy period of time.
They have rabbit ears for Johnny Mac. Do they listen to you at least? If they don't listen to me and the people, maybe they listen to you.
No, they don't listen to me as far as they listen to me.
They listen to you. I know that for a fact.
But but they don't care. I mean, no, they're not taking my advice. They nor should they. I don't have that kind of ego, but no, but yeah, they hear when I write something they don't like, I get a text message very quickly. And yeah, it's just part of it. But I mean, they believe me, they hear fans and it frustrates them sometimes when they think fans are being unfair or WIP's being unfair.
Right.
And it frustrates them. But they are disciplined enough to put their heads down and say, all right, well, they don't get it. Yeah. So
it is funny though how much they care. John, you're gonna show up at the offseason stuff, and instead of John McMullen, wherever there is a name tag, if there is one, it's going to say Timu McMullen. They're going to troll you back and say Timu McMullen is in the building, and they're going to show you Johnny Mac that
they're going to ignore
signings are going to work.
They're going to ignore it. Washington is signing Josh Johnson. Boy, Josh Johnson still keeps kicking.
That's who we throttled in the NFC Championship game against the Niners, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be. There was a famous picture of Josh McCown, I guess Josh McCown's daughter and a bunch of her friends wearing all his jerseys for many years. Josh McCown played for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Johnson's got him beat. I just pulled up Josh Johnson's transaction. Get ready for this. What do we got? 34 minutes left. You might get it. Tampa Bay, San Francisco, the Sacramento Mountain Lions of the UFL, the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, back to San Francisco, Cincinnati again, New York Jets, Indianapolis Colts, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, New York Giants, Houston Texans, Oakland Raiders, Washington Redskins, San Diego Fleet, Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Wildcats of the XFL, San Francisco 49ers again, New York Jets again, Ravens again, Broncos, 49ers again, Ravens again, Commanders. We have reached another one.
Holy moly. That dude's been on half the league.
Unbelievable. 2008 he started. It's 2025. That is his transaction list. That is a good job to have, man.
That's almost like the inverse of so it's impressive when a player starts his career somewhere and ends it there. This is like just as impressive, but the opposite way. You have that level of staying power on that many organizations. I'm thinking that's impressive right there for Josh Johnson.
It's very impressive.
Or his agent's a badass agent.
People like him. And I don't know why, but they like him. He's probably a good, smart guy. He's probably good worker.
Guy, yeah.
Good locker room guy. Knows how to play, but he's not good enough, obviously. And those, so we're talking about 17, 18 years. And trying to figure out how many games he's actually played. He's only played in 45 games, only started 9 in those 18 years.
9 games that he started in 18 years. Wow.
Yeah.
How old is he? Gotta be old.
He is 38. He will be 39 on May 15th.
Is that like the greatest career ever? 18 years in the
NFL?
NFL?
McCown for years. McCown was only Arizona.
Yeah, but McCown played a lot more games, so his body probably took a lot more damage. Like Josh Johnson played 8 games in how many years?
Yeah, McCown was. They both played like 18 years. So
that's good bang for your buck right there for Josh Johnson.
McCown was actually a 3rd-round pick back in the day for people that forget. So he was with Arizona, Detroit, Oakland, Miami, Carolina, the Hartford Colonials of the UFL, San Francisco, Chicago, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, New York Jets, Eagles, and finished up with the Houston Texans. And I thought that was impressive at the time. And Josh Johnson has just lapped him. Just unbelievable. So many different teams.
Pretty impressive.
So good for Josh Johnson. He got another one.
Yeah, man. That's dope, man. That's for sure dope. Good for him.
And
Bird Gang checks in. Good touch.
I thought he was with the Redskins in 2018. Now he's with the Commanders in 2025.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff. Bird Gang checks in, Johnny Mac. He says, watch for one of those defensive ends from Jacksonville on draft night. I could see this as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to how he's, again, I bring up A.J. Brown, draft night trade.
Yeah.
That same year, James Bradbury, June, I believe, and then CJ in August. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to hit to that level. But they're going to add. They're going to add on the defensive front somehow, some way.
Will it be a rookie or not a rookie?
Could be both. They're going to add multiple bodies.
But will the big signing be a rookie or not? Like, will they spend the first, or will they trade for somebody that's a bigger splash?
I would think they want. I've said pretty consistently. I would think they want a proven commodity.
But do they want to pay a proven commodity yet?
Well, by proven commodity, I'm not talking about all pro level. I'm talking about upside level, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Right. Or do you go Les Snead, you take your first, your second, your third, you trade up as high as you can possibly get, and you take the best edge on the board at that spot?
Stop getting these people riled up. No.
That's a good move. Then you get a good edge on a rookie deal, Johnny Mac.
What do you get him? Abdul Carter? Get him Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren. Maybe you can get Abdul Carter, Tyler Warren, and Will Anderson Jr. Can you do that? Can you pull that off?
They do have a lot of picks, John. So moving up is a possibility if they want to do it. I'm not trying to get anybody overly excited, but I mean, maybe you can get the 15. You have to send a big ass package, but you could do it.
Well, you could do anything, but that's the Eagles like to make good decisions. And this ain't the draft to go to 15.
Yeah, but it is the draft that they need to get a player that is a viable player on the defense that's on a cost-effective deal. That's why I don't think – like if you trade for Trayvon Walker, which I think is a great player, I think he'd be a great fit in Philly, you're going to have to give him $25 million a year right away. Like, are they ready to do that with Carter coming up, with Nolan coming up? I don't think they're ready to do that. No. So if you're saying, if we're just projecting, hey, they're going to make a trade and get somebody, don't you think the trade would be for a rookie? Because that's a cost-effective deal.
Well, I would think the trade would be for a guy they think that has upside, that hasn't maybe played enough and has a couple years left. DeAndre Swift type deal more than a
that's a glorified Timu. That's like the premium Timu section, though.
Well, not if you're correct on the evaluation, but yes, if you're going to go Timu, it's the.
Yeah.
Do they have a premier section?
I don't know if they do or not, but they do for this conversation.
Yeah. That would be like, I don't know, you're going to Kohl's instead of Walmart, a little bit little bit upscale.
Yeah. Nothing crazy, but like, yeah, Dollar General to Five Below. That's what you have to the jump. Good one, Abe. Good stuff there. We'll take one more commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up another week of Birds 365. We are 13 days away, everybody, from the NFL draft. No new top 30 visit yet to report today, and still nothing on tight ends. Is this gamesmanship? I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
They're saying if you want a chance to be drafted in Philly, you will tell nobody about your top 30 visit to Philadelphia. Good stuff there. I appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. Closing up another week on the show, inching closer to the NFL draft. Now just 13 days away from round 1, 14 days away from that day 2, which I think is going to be a more meaningful day. But never count out the Eagles. And on that day 1, maybe they make a move, maybe they make a trade, maybe they do something big. We will see. We'll be covering it here on JAKIB Sports, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. About 23 minutes left in the show today, John. And we just talked about edge rusher, and I want to give a shout out to my boy in the chat, Daz, for this. But I feel remiss I didn't mention it. We talked about Trey Hendrickson. We talked about Myles Garrett. What about TJ Watt? Apparently he wants a new deal, and they're not giving him one. Is that a trade option?
I mean, look, great player. Very expensive player. I mean,
expensive. Myles would have been expensive too.
Yeah. And they didn't get it done. You know, Howie kept saying, we're not in a position to do it. They weren't in a position to do it.
Right.
They're not in a position to do it because of what's coming down the road. Yeah. I mean, yeah, phenomenal player. He's going to get paid more than, when he does, because of how contracts work, he's probably going to get more than Miles when it comes down. So my answer to that would be no.
No. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Getting closer here to the NFL draft. Obviously, we talked about the top 30 visits. We talked about the trends that were leading up to it with everything. I still can't believe we have no tight end, but again, I do think it's the gamesmanship.
You got two tight ends.
Huh?
You got two tight ends. Three tight ends. Kylan Granson, Harrison Bryant. How dare you disparage Harrison Bryant? You said we have no tight ends.
No tight ends on the visits, John. We thought.
On the visits. All right.
Are we not drafting? Even if we bring Goddard back, at what point is this team going to draft a tight end?
Calcaterra. I'm joking, obviously.
I think people.
I think they're
drafted. The Eagles like Grant Calcaterra more than we think.
The Eagles? I don't know. I don't think they think he's a starting level tight end. He's entering the final year of his deal. Every single player they have is a lame duck at tight end, with the exception of, futures guys and that who they can have under team control. But of the guys who might make the roster, Grant Calcaterra is on the final year of his rookie deal. Harrison Bryant and Kylan Granson signed 1-year deals, and Dallas Goedert's on the final year of his deal. Every single one of them. So, yeah, you have to bring in somebody. And I believe they will bring in somebody. The question is, I think they like Mason Taylor a lot. I think that's who they would prefer. I don't think you're going to be able to get him because I don't think they want to take him at 32. And then he's going to be out of range at 64. And then you start talking about, do they like Elijah Arroyo? Do they like Terrence Ferguson? And that's what I think they're trying to keep under wraps. The bare minimum, I think you're getting a Gunnar Helm type or a Mitchell Evans type in the draft.
Where do you think Mason Taylor is going to go?
Somewhere between 32 and 64. I think he's. I don't think he's going to go. I don't think the Eagles would take him at 32, and I think he'll go shortly thereafter. I think he'll go in the 32 to 42 range.
All right, I'm going to look at what are Grant Calcaterra's blocking grades, because people say he sucks at blocking. Does he suck at blocking as bad as we think he sucks at blocking? Yeah,
he's not a great blocker. No,
he was graded really low last year in run blocking and pass blocking, really low. 48.6 is lowest in his career, and 43.9 in pass blocking. Run blocking.
There aren't a lot of good. Like Dallas Goedert didn't have great blocking grades last year, but he's a good blocker. I mean, sometimes it's almost a different scale for tight ends now than it used to be. Like I often use that description because I hear it. It's about losing slowly. You're going to lose. Just, put up a fight is what they're looking for. So, in the Eagles, I would focus on run blocking more than pass blocking because they leave their tackles on an island. They don't need much help. It's a big luxury for the Eagles offense. And there aren't many good run blockers. If you look at the grades, Josh Oliver's very good. George Kittle, obviously. And then Kylan Granson was top 10.
Is Kylan Granson what JD3 wishes Harrison Bryant was?
Well, they gave him a little bit more money, but, there aren't a lot of great blocking tight ends. And like I said, Dallas Goedert didn't have one of his better seasons, but he's still one of the better blocking tight ends. Michael Mayer as well. Like Kylan Granson had a better blocking year, but I'd rather have Michael Mayer if they could work that kind of trade.
I think they could. I mean, what is Vegas doing with Michael Mayer?
I don't know.
They got the best tight end in football, as far as I'm concerned. With
yeah, but who was talking? I saw Kellen Moore talking about that in New Orleans. He was like, "Yeah, I'm an 11 personnel guy." He admitted it. So, A, why didn't you talk to us like that, Kellen? But B, because now he's the head coach.
He's got to change up his ways a little bit as a head coach.
No,
he was a tough listen last year for somebody that listened to all the press conferences. Oh my God, Kellen Moore.
Because he it's not his job. It's not his job to be the head coach. So
yeah, I got you.
He was just doing the party line type of thing. Now he's the head coach, and now he can talk a little bit more open and honestly. And anyway, he was having this conversation, and he said, "Yeah, I'm an 11 personnel guy, but sometimes you don't have the people, and sometimes you have 2 good tight ends, and you play 12. That's Vegas. You got 2 good tight ends, so play 12. Tom Brady will tell you how to do it. Tom did pretty well with Gronk and the guy they don't want to mention, but it was a hell of a player before he went off the rails." So, I mean, he'll tell you, you got 2 good tight ends, use them. But, that's Las Vegas's problem.
I think do you think the Saints are going to be all right this year?
Yeah, they're going to be fine.
Did you see Cam Jordan? I mean, obviously you're going to say that when it's your team, but he was like, well, when we're healthy, we're a top 2 team in the league. I'm like, top 2?
Yeah, come on.
What are you talking about?
Come on, Cam.
Yeah, I think he was just gassing up his own team.
Well,
but in a way, here's the downside of what he said. In a way, do you create an expectation in the fans' mind that Kellen cannot achieve? Cam Jordan's out telling fans, "Hey, when we're healthy, we're the second best roster in the league." Now, most fans will know he's not. They're not. But some will listen to him and say, "All right, then we're going to have a good year."
I think all fans think even the Eagles are the best team in football. And, their fans just blow everything out. They think everybody's the best player. So it's a scale. The Eagles
still have one of the best rosters in the NFL, even with the losses.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah. But I'm saying, even at the heights, even as they were legitimately the best team in football, and, guys, there's a lot of fans that blow that out of proportion. I'm saying that's just part of it. Everybody thinks their players are better than they really are.
Are you going to predict the Commanders to win the NFC East this year? You mentioned that a little bit ago. Just that.
I mean, it depends what happens, but long term, I mean, we all know how long it's been since there's been a repeat champion. Yeah. The Eagles have the tougher schedule because they're first place and won the Super Bowl. They have the short off season. They've lost so many players. Now, if they replace them, I still think they'll have the better team, and I'll switch up. But we did this a couple of weeks ago. Right now, I'm picking Washington, but it's an incomplete picture.
I don't like that pick, John.
Well, playing the odds.
I know you're playing the odds, but
20 years is 20 years.
I just look at the teams, though. I mean, wide receivers, Eagles. Offensive line, Eagles. Running back, Eagles. Defensive line, Eagles. Secondary, Eagles. I don't see where they're I'm not saying they don't have a good team, but I don't think that they have an overwhelm. They're not better than us really anywhere, I don't think.
Well, that's a wrong way to look at it because the Eagles wide receivers aren't playing the Commanders wide receivers. So
no, I'm just saying. I'm saying though.
Well, that's what I mean. Because I hear a lot of people do that. What does that have? What relevance does that have? I mean, is the Eagles secondary equipped to deal with the Washington offense? Is the Washington defense equipped to deal with the Philadelphia offense, or vice versa, or better equipped? That's the way you should look at it. Number one, because it doesn't matter. Yes, is the Eagles offensive line better than the Washington offensive line? Of course, but they're not playing against each other. The Eagles offensive
line makes the Eagles a good team. I'm not saying they're playing against their offensive line.
Well,
makes them a good team.
Yeah, but I'm saying when people, well, the Eagles have, I'm not even going to quarterback because I'm not starting that.
Jalen Hurts is better than Jaden
I'm not even going.
I'm giving you a stop it. Jalen Hurts is better than Jaden Daniels.
I'm not even going down that. But you can't talk to illogical people.
I'm not illogical.
A lot of people are illogical.
I don't think I'm being illogical saying Jalen Hurts with 4 years as a starter, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and what he's done is better than Jaden Daniels. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a great player.
You're talking about accomplishment. Again, it's illogical. You're talking about accomplishment. Jaden Daniels has been around for 1 year. And after 1 year, I think it's pretty significant that Jaden Daniels is a little bit ahead of Jalen's trajectory. Now, again, the illogical part goes into it where the assumption is the accomplishment is only attached to the player, to one player. And I can argue this to my dying days, and I probably will, and nobody's going to get to it. An accomplishment is a great thing for a quarterback. As Vic Fangio said as a coach, a lot of people are involved with it. A lot of people are involved with winning a Super Bowl. A lot of people are involved with making the playoffs. A lot of people are involved with winning a playoff game, never mind 2, never mind 3, never mind 4. But the illogical part is attaching the accomplishment to one specific player and saying that player is better than said player. Because by that definition, Jalen Hurts is arguably the best quarterback in football. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that that's the case. Now, other people will lie to you, and they will grip you, and they will try to sell that argument. It is not the case. Very good player. Very good player. No, nothing wrong with the player. He's a tremendous player.
So you do think
not the best.
You do think Jaden Daniels is better than Hurts, though?
Is Jaden Daniels 1 year trajectory? Is Jaden Daniels ahead of Jalen Hurts? That's where Jaden Daniels is. He's played 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. I mean, his first year was one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in a long time.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does moving forward. Let's see what he does. But 1 year, Jalen Hurts wasn't even a starter. He had one of the best rookie seasons, as you mentioned, in NFL history. He's a good player. Does Jalen Hurts have a better supporting cast last year? Yes. Is that his fault? No. The accomplishment of a team should never be boiled down as the accomplishment of a player at the behest of another player who doesn't have the same vacuum. But I will never win that argument, and that's why I'm angry at myself for even bringing it up, and I didn't want to bring it up, but you went down that route.
You can blame me.
And it is ill-fucking-logical. And I can't, it drives me insane, but I know I can't get people to, and it bothers me, but man, it is just, and that's why I love that Vic Fangio quote, because Vic's the best at his job in the business. Number one. And he still has that's part of the reason he is number one, because he understands what his job is. And his job is to maximize what he has in a particular year, not win the Super Bowl every year, get his players a little bit better than where they would be without him. And he does that better than anybody else. And it didn't change from the day before the Super Bowl than to the day after the Super Bowl, other than, as Vic said, one hell of an accomplishment.
Oh, accomplishments matter to me. They don't have to matter to everybody. I appreciate it, though. Good stuff there. A couple super chats to get through, John, before we got 7 minutes to go here on Birds 365. Chris A.M. again, 10 more memberships. Thank you, bro. That's really dope of you to do that, man. We appreciate your support of the channel, man. It goes a long way. Brian Pumper checks in. Johnny Mack got his Vikings over the Eagles, though. Brian Pumper suspects you're a serial Vikings
I don't
fan.
even have the Vikings over the Lions or the Packers, or maybe the Bears, because I don't believe in J.J. McCarthy a little bit. So wrong again.
Wrong again, Pump. Sorry,
Not exactly the first time.
He's been spreading J-Mac fake rumors around the channel that you're a Viking fanboy. Can you deny?
Well, I got people in Minnesota that call me a Green Bay fanboy. So God bless them.
You're about to have people in Philly calling you a Commander fanboy.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, because I love Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I get a lot of Green Bay fanboy as well. And I love Brett Favre. So that was
Brett Favre is a great quarterback. Bird Gang checks in. Like the fans that say Jalen is better than Josh and Lamar because he beat Patrick, then get mad if you don't agree.
Yeah, I mean, look, I talk to a lot of personnel people. I mean, that's not how they do it. It's, right now, and Joe Burrow's the guy that, is just, people think a lot of him.
Yeah, I get it.
As a quarterback.
Damn good player.
And, they don't look at it like the way that, so-and-so won a Super Bowl and he's the best.
But I know, but personnel guys aren't always right. So, that's not,
No, but they know more than you or me.
They do. There's
and
no
everybody
doubt
else.
do this for a living. I'm not trying to disparage.
And the point is that when you evaluate a player, you're evaluating the player. You're not evaluating the team, because again, Nick Sirianni will say it ad nauseum, and he said it ad nauseum. Greatest team game there is, and it is. That I say all the time, the MVP of the Eagles, we all know, Saquon was Offensive Player of the Year. Jalen Hurts was Super Bowl MVP. Those things are very political. Offense, number one. The best players on the field to me in the Super Bowl were the defensive players, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Zack Baun. But they're not going to get MVP. If I could give an Eagles MVP award, I would give it, and I've said this pretty consistently, to the offensive line for the season. I'm talking.
I don't disagree with that at all.
For the season.
How about the last decade?
I know. But, so I don't know. Can you put Joe Burrow behind that offensive line? No, you can't. So we don't know. He might not have won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying, he's definitely winning the Super Bowl. I think Jalen Hurts does a lot of things that are unique, and I've said it pretty consistently, and people ignore when I compliment him. And the best thing about him as a player, in my opinion, is his ability to, as he calls it, flush things with immediacy. I can't tell you how many times it's like a starting pitcher in baseball. How many times you watch the first quarter of the game and you say, all right, this guy doesn't have it today. And you can do that with Jalen Hurts, but all of a sudden then he comes in the fourth quarter, he's making plays to win the game. That's very unique. And I'm not sure anybody has that particular intangible at a higher level than Jalen Hurts, including.
Well, sometimes isn't it not always about the best player? It's about the right player.
Exactly. To win a championship, to get the accomplishment. I'm just purely grading the player. And there are better players at the quarterback position. Not a lot. Certainly not more than a handful. But they're, especially the top four, as when Slay got in trouble. I'm going to say all of them are better.
That's fair. I won't argue with you. We got 3 minutes left in the show. It's Football Friday, Johnny Mac. John, great show today, though. We're 13 days away from that round one I don't even know if we'll be picking anything in round 1. It might be a dead night for us, or maybe they're trading. Maybe they're splash trading all the way up the board, as we speculated earlier on the show. We're trading for a player. We'll see what they end up doing.
I was looking at the trade chart. So if you're going by the Jimmy Johnson trade chart,
let's hear. I'm interested in this.
1, 2, and 3 doesn't even get you to 15.
Wow, if you sent 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. So I don't
Where's
think
it get you? Like 18?
It gets you, you're about 100 points short. So yeah, it gets you about 18, 19. Now, people would not like that. If they gave up 1, 2, and 3. Plus I don't see the player that you're going up to get.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good draft on top of it. So
I don't know. Ray Didinger got me thinking about Mike Green, because I love the Mike Green tape before he said that. And then he said that, and I'm like, all right, I got confirmation from Ray Diddy. Yeah, this guy can play. I think he'd be a difference maker.
Well, then you have the issues, the off the field issues, and how he put his foot in his mouth. So
yes, he did.
he doesn't want to talk about that. So I wouldn't bet on Mike Green at this point.
Me neither.
But I do think he's a very good player. But yeah, I don't think they're going up. They might go up, but it'll be a very targeted move up, a couple spots if they go up.
We'll see what ends up happening. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts, not only on this football.
No, you got me off the rails, and now I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail because of Zander.
Hey, anybody giving hate mail, shut the fuck up. People have different opinions than you. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts today.
Yeah, send the hate mail to Zander. But yeah, good week of shows. Full draft prep. Nick Scarrington is a player I think you should have a keen eye on. I think he's a possibility. As I said, the Eagles like to cluster players at particular spots, and I think he's in their cluster at 32. So there'll be about 4 or 5 players they'll be comfortable with. And if they're all gone, they might move up to get the last one, might move back. But again, I think it's going to be tougher to move back than many years, just because of the draft and how it shakes out. And so many players are considered to be in the same realm. What changes that, and the good part of being at 32, we said pretty consistently, is the quarterbacks. And it seems like teams are talking themselves into quarterbacks in the second level, the second realm of quarterbacks. Right. So the Jackson Darts of the world, the Tyler Shucks of the world, and if somebody falls in love, even Jalen Milroe, falls in love and they talk themselves into that particular player, it could be to the Eagles' benefit, to say the least.
Yep, no doubt. Make that 32 pick more valuable. Johnny Mac, good show, brother. We will catch you on Monday morning on Birds 365. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, there's Johnny Mac. John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town, doing it here on Birds 365. Great stuff from Johnny Mac. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at JF McMullen. Great show today. Great week of shows today. A little bit of a back and forth week for me in terms of travel, but a good week of shows, and we move 1 week closer to the NFL draft. And we're now just 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, which feels crazy to me. This offseason is just cooking. It's just absolutely cooking. All right. So we appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate, by the way, Chris A.M. I just want to thank you again, bro. He did this twice today. Dropped 10 gifted memberships. That's 20 gifted memberships today at $5 a pop. This guy's dropping $100 on gifted memberships. So Chris A.M., thank you, my brother. I appreciate you very much. Really dope of you to support the show. It goes a long way. So thank you, my man. I appreciate that very much. Brian Fleming says, Zander time. Woo! Zander time, baby. Yes, sir. It is Zander time. I got some good stories today. We'll do some giveaways. I want a legend giveaway. I got a regular giveaway. Although my box of stuff, I put it away before I went to Florida. And it's like buried. So I didn't get it out. I don't know if I'm going to get it out. I might just do the giveaways. I'll show you guys pictures of the shirts. I don't feel like getting the box out. But good stuff. SMD says the hat is fire. Thank you, SMD. This is a very special hat to me. All right, for a special reason. All right. So I saw my boy Pumper chirping it. I saw a couple of, I might have to wear some more funky hats because I like giving you guys something to talk about. You know, I've always been the kind of guy that I like when I'm goofy. You know, you people are like, what the fuck is on his head? I like being goofy, all right? I do. I like being goofy. I like being uniquely myself, all right? That's what I like being. So I might have to go more funky, but so I told you guys about my dog. My dog passed over this week. This is my dog hat, all right? And I'll show you why. There's a picture of my dog. See how he's black and white? And he's got the, you know, his coat is black and white. Well, this hat is like my dog. Come on, man. This hat is like my dog. So I love this hat. I don't care what Pumper says. I don't care what Joe Whip says. I don't care what Slagger says. I don't care what any of you say. Okay? I love this hat. Okay? I love this hat. So, fuck all y'all for not liking my hat. But I don't care. I really do. I love the hats. I appreciate the comment or the compliment, SMD Eagles. And if you want me to really go out on a limb, all right, if you want to see how bold I'll really go, all right, when I'm not on the air. Who wants to see how bold I'll go when I'm not on the air? Anybody want to see how bold I'll go when I'm not on the air? You let me know. I got another hat to show you. All right. Johnson was a fucking legend is right, Emrys. He really was a legend. All right. Look at my boy. Chilling out on the picnic table out back. That table used to be red. I redid this whole table. Got new wood, repainted it, new finishings, new hardware, new everything. And then he used it after that too. That was his table. He loved that place. So, all right. Who wants to see my dope hat though? This hat's cool, but I got another one. Actually, I got a couple that are giant. So these are the Johnson hats. See them? They all look like my dog. That's why I got them. That's why I got them. Because they all look like my dog. But the best one I have not revealed yet, okay? I have not revealed yet, which I will do. We do have some giveaways. I'm going to get ready to do some of those. I got to pull the member list, all right? And now they hush me. Hey, that's all right. I like chirping, brother. Hey, like I said, I like giving people something to talk about, all right? Even if they don't like me, all right? It's all good, man. I like giving people something to talk about. Like that schmuck that was in here yesterday. You guys want to see the bold hat? I want to show you it, all right? Is it pink with ears? No, it's not pink with ears. My dog had some legendary ears, though. All right? He did have some legendary ears. All right? He definitely had some legendary ears. But good week of shows today. I tell you what, this draft is fucking boring. I'm sorry, guys. It just is. This is just a boring draft. I know there's some players. You know, I said that yesterday. People were like, are you kidding me? There's players. I'm like, no shit. There's going to be 200 players selected. No crap. There's players. I know there's players. I'm saying it's generally a boring draft. Maybe it's because we're sitting at 32 and we just won the damn Super Bowl, okay? But, yeah, maybe this is it, Rich. After 25, it's a drag. It might be it. Yeah, when the fuck is Kanga going to sponsor the Krause House of Kanga? This is a better question, Curtis, because, you know, if once I show you the other bold hat, now my sisters want some Kangos, all right? Now my sisters want some Kangos. Let me show you guys, all right? This is great. This hat is great. I love this hat. Wait till I pull this hat out on you guys. I don't know if you guys are ready for this hat. Daz is certainly not ready for this hat. Daz is certainly not. Eduardo, the reason I didn't bring that up to John is because he would have probably had an aneurysm. He would have been like, are you fucking crazy? I mean, you heard him say you can't take your top 3 picks. You won't even get the 15. So he wouldn't have entertained the Abdul thing. John doesn't like to entertain stuff like that. So I try and keep the topics, the stuff that John will elaborate on, you know, not just say, you guys are fucking idiots, you know. So that's that. That's why I didn't bring that up. But I don't hate it. I mean, shoot, I want a guy that's, you know, I want a guy that can produce on the rookie contract because I think we need a rookie contract player. So, you know, we'll see. John's too mature. Yeah, he is. He doesn't like to speculate or anything. All right. It is. You're right, Eduardo. I could have had him do it, but it more just would have been, you guys are dumb. You know, it's one thing to have him crash out in like an opinion. But he would just be like, you're dumb. It's not happening. It's not possible. So, but it still would have been good content, but good stuff. I got to pull this member list because now we got a bunch new members. All right. We got a bunch new members today because of Chris AM. Chris AM, thank you, bro. I appreciate that very much. We are going to have some giveaways today. As I mentioned, we'll have two. I will do one I'll do one legend giveaway and one regular giveaway. So I see a bunch of new members in here. Thanks to Chris AM, as I mentioned. Who's our most recent legend? Brandon Howard re-upped yesterday. I saw B. Howe in here earlier. I think he got to go somewhere. He said he had some errands to run. So appreciate all of you guys for being members. All right. Let's download this. All right, good. Yeah, it would have been funny. I could have brought it up to him, but he would, you heard me say trade up to get Mike Green, and he had an aneurysm at that. He said, you're not even getting a 15. So, imagine if I told him, let's trade to number 2. He would have said, can we have real conversation? He wouldn't have liked it. That's all right. We love J-Mac for J-Mac. What the heck is going on here? All right, I'm downloading the member list. We're going to do our giveaways now. We'll kick some things around on Zander time. We'll have some fun. Any comments that you guys want to have? That's why it's not working. All right, got him. I love when J-Mac starts turning one syllable words into a syllable words. Like, come on. I like that. All right, 2 syllable words. Zander, just stopping by for a sec. Got to run. Love the hat, and I'll watch the replay later on. SMD, appreciate you. Wait, let me show you the good one. Let me show you the bold one, SMD, before you go. Boom! Look at this bucket. Wait, where's the logo? Where's my logo? There it is. Nope, that's not my logo. This is my logo. Look at the bucket. Yeah, baby. Woo! The Johnson bucket is better than the Johnson regular. I'll be rocking this on the beach. All right? I'll be rocking this sucker on the beach. Yeah, baby. I love this hat. I love this hat. I was getting a kick out of Pumper chirp in my hat. I'm like, oh, yeah, Pumper. Pumper knows what's going on. All right? So these are my collection of Johnny hats. All right? My dog liked my Kangos. My dog is black and white. I showed you guys. He's black and white. All right? So I got the 3 Kango black and white hats. All right? I got the 3 Kango black and white hats. Holy shit! Chris AM is nuts! I got to send this guy some merch. All right? I got to send this guy some merch. I got to send Chris AM some merch. Buckets so far. Yeah, I love buckets. All right? I love buckets. That first hat I've seen Z put on. Oh, Curtis. Yo, Curtis. Are you outside of your mind? I don't pull this off. Are you kidding me, Curtis? Curtis, don't let your wife watch the show, all right? Don't let her watch. Come on, I don't pull this off. Are you crazy? That's like your take on Jalen Hurts, one of the worst takes you'll ever hear. One of the worst takes you'll ever hear from Curtis. Guy has a lot of bad takes. Curtis, I love you, but you got a lot of bad takes. That one being your worst one. All right? Ball with the ball. It's a great Kid Rock song. Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy. Beautiful dog. Thank you, Kevin Landon. I appreciate you. Let me read my boy Chris AM. Look at this dude. Drops $100 super chat. $100 super chat after gifting 20 memberships. This is my boy right here. Chris AM, thank you, man. I appreciate it, bro. It really goes a long way. One of our best supporters here is Chris AM. And Chris, if you'll do it, I'd like you to reach out to me because I would like to send you something, man. I do have some Eagles merch. I do a bunch of giveaways on the channel. And actually, for those who were here last week, you remember I did a giveaway. You had to be present to win. Chris's name was pulled, but he wasn't here. So he didn't get it on that day. But I would like to send Chris AM some Eagles merch just to thank him for all the support of the channel, maybe even a little JAKIB merch as well. So, Chris, if you will, I'd love to see you email me, man, and I will reach out to you. I can't force you to, but I would like you to reach out to me, and I'll send you some stuff. All right, I'd like to send you some stuff. Chris A.M. says, much love to all. Love this show. Holy Week upcoming, Xander. Yes, sir. Holy Week. Next week, man. Palm Sunday on Sunday. You actually helped me, Chris A.M., by telling me I curse too much. So he says, Xander, I'm a devout Catholic myself. Xander and J-Mac, you guys are the best. Congrats on the 1,000-plus episodes of Birds 365. J-Mac is the man. He is always right, but 20th on defense, nah. Stay up, fam. Fly, Eagles, fly. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Devout Catholic, too. I love it. I love it. All right? I love it. Appreciate you, bro. That's a really dope super chat, man. That's really dope of you. And thanks for the reminder on Holy Week. I got to stop cursing on the show, especially in this holy time. Fly Eagles Fly checks in. The hats for your dog, I'm sorry, by the way, are fresh as hell. Thank you, Fly Eagles Fly. You know, a guy that knows some stuff. You know, Curtis goes out, you know, and he's got the Dad 3000 New Balances on, you know, and he's like, oh, that hat stinks. Okay, Curtis, go get your striped button down, okay, with your little khaki cargo pants and your New Balance shoes, all right, and you enjoy it. I'm going to be fly, all right? I like to be fresh. Brooks, get it right. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Perfect for you, Curtis. Brooks. Fucking plaid shirt and his cargo shorts with his Brooks shoes on. Hey, come on, Curtis. Curtis, stay in your lane, Curtis. Yeah, Bird Gang Girl, me too. It's my biggest problem. I'm telling you, man. I curse. I curse way too much. Way too much. Oh, Palm Sunday, I always wore at my old church for the free palms. I love the free palms. Actually, I keep the free palms. Look. I always keep my palms. Now, I always keep my palms. These are my palms from last year's Palm Sunday Mass. I always keep my palms. And I don't have, these are obviously too hard now to make into anything. But in my truck, I turned my other part of my palms last year. I always tie them into a cross. So I tie them this way, and then I tie one around it, and I do a little bow with the palm, and it's all made out of palm. I'd love to show you guys it. I have it out in my truck. It's still in my truck. I do it every year. I do a new one every single year. So I turn some palm into a cross that I keep in my car, and then I put some palms over in my studio. And I keep them, and then I move on from them next year. Actually, I don't think – I forget what it is. I forget what it is for those who are Catholic in the room. I forget what it is, but there's a way you're supposed to discard of palms. I believe it's burning them. I don't think you're supposed to throw them out or anything like that. I think there's a real way to discard your palms. I want to say it's burning them. All right? Every curse word keeps you further from God. You're not wrong, Rico. But I am a sinner, okay? I am an imperfect follower of Christ. Emre says, people get him and braid him down here like into a halo. Yeah. Well, Fred, I never seen that, but my mom loved it. My mom raved about that show. She loved that show. I'll watch that. That's something maybe I'll watch this offseason. The other thing I love is I do like the Passion of the Christ. I think they're coming out with a second one, Mel Gibson, with that. So he was pretty good in those. So that's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, it's burning them. I knew it was. I know because my mom and dad do it. So, but I got to burn those soon. Coming up, Palm Sunday. I'll get new palms. All right. I'll try to stop dropping F-bombs. Yeah, that's all right, man. Look, like I said, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to try to be perfect, but I can try and not curse as much. I blame Cilio. Cilio, if you're listening, I blame you. All right. I blame you. All right. I blame you. But again, I appreciate you all. I got the list of giveaways. Tony, my boy Tony. What's up, brother? Hope you're doing good, my man. I appreciate you. All right. Let me pull up this giveaway stuff real quick. Yeah. The other time I get palms at my church is when they had the nativity scene, right, for Christmas. Yeah, so I get palms there too. But I'm more just donating the box and then grab a couple. Put them there. Most of the time I pull out like an old sport coat and I have like a little bit of palm in there. So yeah. I pray the rosary. I pray the rosary, Eduardo, every day during Lent. So that's one of the things I've been trying to do is pray the rosary during Lent. I haven't been perfect every day, but I've tried to pray the rosary. My whole family uses the Hallow app. They love the Hallow app for that. All right. No meat today. All right. No meat today. Remember, Catholics, no meat today. No meat today. All right. Let me get this member list up. We'll do some giveaways. All right. We will do some giveaways. Again, Chris AM, I do thank you, brother. I really do appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it. It goes a long way in helping the channel. I don't think people realize how far that stuff goes. I mean, you know, we have become more and more supported by our community in the last year, which is a very good thing. It's a powerful thing. All right. When you're beholden to a sponsor or a company or anything, things can change quick. When you have a community of people that support, as long as they continue to support, you know, the shows support themselves. And then it gives you obviously more upside and more potential to continue to grow. So it does go a very long way. Like whenever I say thank you, I truly mean it. I truly mean it. Thank you, because it goes a very long way. All right, so our first giveaway. Giveaway winner, regular member, and then we'll do our legend member, our legend giveaway second. All right. All right, we'll do our legend giveaway second. Screen, share this up. All right. In my legendary Johnson hat today. In my legendary Johnson hat today. Curtis, that is not why people give Catholic shit. Oh my God, Curtis. That is not yet. Me too. I just cursed it too. Dang. All right, here we go. I got the list. List of people. What's up, SB Ricky? Hope you're doing good, my brother. I saw your tweet to me. I saw your tweet to me last week, Ricky. Let me pull up Ricky. I saw your tweet to me, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you had me in my feels. But here's the thing. I did feel genuine happiness for you, SB Ricky. I did. I said to myself, I'm pumped for Ricky. I'm pumped for Ricky. Let me show you guys a tweet. Let me show you guys the tweet from Ricky. Where's my boy, Ricky? Come on, where is this tweet? Damn, I can't find it. I can't find it. But Ricky, my boy Ricky got the brick by bricks. Congrats, Ricky. I need to get a pair of them. I'm so close. I'm so close, SB Ricky, to just buying them on resale. But bro, $550 for a pair of Jordans, I can't do that. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. I'm not doing that. I can't do it. I can't get myself to do it. There's Rich. Rich has been making fun of me for the brick by bricks for weeks, bro. He's been making fun of me because I was on here with the day they dropped. I was trying to get him. He was trolling me. Ha, 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 you didn't get him. I'm like, come on, Rich. Come on, Rich. They would go good with my bucket hat. Actually, they probably wouldn't, but let me put on my bucket hat in honor of the dummy Curtis. He says you can't rock this. Curtis, stick to the shit he takes, Curtis. Stick to the shit he takes. I'll rock this bucket in peace and look dope doing it. All right? All right, let's do this giveaway. And yes, I'm doing it in the bucket hat with my liver 4s. Now, Daz, you know which ones I actually might pull the trigger on resale? The Nike SB ones, the navy blue ones. Those are fire. Navy blue and white. They're a lot more easy to wear, too. A lot easier to wear. All right, confirm. Let's do the giveaway. The winner of this is going to get one of these Super Bowl t-shirts, and then we'll do a giveaway again for a hat and a t-shirt as well. All right, so we had a couple winners last week. Everybody should have gotten their stuff. The only thing I still have to send out is the JAKIB merch I owe to my girl Texas T and Joe High. All right, so I got to send that. And then Josh B. Josh, I didn't forget about you either. All right, I didn't forget about you either. Yeah, the pines are, dude, they're expensive still too, though, Mad Bird. They're like $500 still, bro. $500 still is, come on, man. I don't want to spend that. I don't want to spend that. All right, we're doing one shuffle for the greatness of Jalen Hurts and the greatness of this bucket hat. Start! Let's put the $100 super chat on the screen because my boy Chris AM is a legend. 2, 1, Tony Del Vecchio. You got to be present to win. You got to be present to win. Yeah, the Nesbys are sick, man. All right. Only for the trade. Yeah, so you did the trade, SB Ricky. That was a good move by you to get those and then trade. I would have done the same thing, Ricky, because I like the Unions, but I wasn't crazy on them, you know? I just more prefer the Chicagos. I'd rather have the Chicagos. But I get it. I get why people like them. Tony Del Vecchio, are you here? Is he here? Tony Del Vecchio. Tony Del Vecchio. I'm still trying to find the tweet from you. Why can I not find this tweet? Ricky, when did you send this thing? Did you delete it? I don't know where it's there. Curtis, don't lie. Curtis, you didn't get those. Curtis, you didn't get those. All right, you didn't get those, Curtis. Curtis, you got the New Balances. All right, you got the Skechers. You got the new Skechers laceless. They got no laces. They're the slip-on Skechers. Curtis, you got the slip-on Skechers. You and Joe Whip went to the store and picked up the new Skechers. Joe Whip, sorry, I should have included you in that, but I saw you chirping earlier too. And Joe, I love you, but you know. All right. Curtis picked up the new laceless Skechers. All right. The laceless Skechers. Spazike. I don't like the Spaziques or Spazikes, whatever they are. I got a pair, but they're just not comfortable for me. All right, here we go. Tony's done. Start. Confirm. One shuffle. Hey, but I got the mochas. I got the lows, though. I got the lows. 4, 3, 2, 1. Mike Cannon. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Yeah, Abe, look, I got the lows here. The Mocha's lows. I got pink laces in one of them, but I don't like the pink. I'm going to go to the white. Or I might go red. I don't know. I like those, though. Those are a good classic low shoe. I prefer one lows for sure, always, for me. Just my style. Is Mike Cannon here? Is Mike Cannon here? I remember when Heelys came out. I used to rip Heelys, bro. Rich or Curtis, if that's true, you got a good wife. All right. If that's true, you got a good wife. Devin says, I need some new hooping shoes. Anyone got recommendations? You know, Devin, I'm a little weird with this. People like the new hoop shoes, like the new modern ones. They're just like, they're so different than what they used to be back in the day. You know, they got like air vents and all sorts of things. They're almost like running shoes now. But I like hooping in my old J's, bro. I really do. Not ones, but I can hoop in threes all day. I'll hoop in threes all day. Now, some people don't like them. I got big clunky feet, so the threes are good for me. But, you know, people like those new Anthony Edwards shoes too. Check those out, Devin. You might like those. Curtis, you got the laceless Skechers, dog. Don't lie. There's no lie in here, Curtis. You got the laceless Skechers. Okay? Bob Brown, if you want to start chirping, Bob, I'll shit on you too, Bob. What do you think? You've been around the block a couple of times, Bob, so you can't get shit on? You're in line for the laceless Skechers too. You dummy. Fucking Bob Brown comes in with a chirp out of left field. No, you won't, Twiz. I can hoop. Twiz, you ain't busting me in nothing. In fact, I'll bust you up in slides. Fucking Twiz. Twiz, you ain't doing shit to me, Twiz. Twiz-wah. Twiz-wah. One shovel! Start! Come on, man. Come on, I'm in a better mood today. I need a winner here. 3, 2, 1. Miz! Where are you, Miz? Not to be confused with the WWE guy. Miz! Yeah, me too. Devin, I do not like him, but people like him to hoop him. All right. Is Miz here? You guys let me know if Miz is here. Wait, so I just realized, yeah, I am taking shots today. El Yepa. I'm taking shots today. People taking shots at me, I'm taking shots back. All right? I'm taking shots back. Who's the guy? Curtis. You said you got the Paris ones, the Paris 4s? Curtis, actually, you know what's a sleeper Jordan that people don't like that I like? A sleeper one is have you ever seen the Paris 5s, but they're low? I've never seen a Jordan 5 low. But they made a Paris, a PSG one, which I'm not like a fan of PSG. I just like shoes. I like the lows, the 5 lows. They're an interesting color, but they're cool as shit looking. All right, Miz, are you done? Chuck Hutton and Curtis. Wait, Chuck Hutton. Here's the float. All right, this is the float. It's Chuck Hutton with his Skechers slip-ons, laceless Skechers. It's Curtis. It's Joe Whipp. And who else is it? Curtis, Joe Whipp, Chuck Hutton. And who else we got? Who else we got? Who else we got? Who else do we got on this float? J-Mac. J-Mac definitely has a pair of Skechers laceless. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. He's got them slip-on sketchy boys. Yeah, Rich, that's cool. I know what you're talking about. It's like orange on the back, I think. All right, Miz, you're done. Start. Let's go. One shovel. Start. 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. John Wick. I want this guy to be here because my dog's name is Johnson. Look at this dickhead. Bob Brown. Now I don't want to chirp you, Bob. All right. He says you're rocking a homeless guy's bucket hat and you're throwing stones. First off, Bob Brown, I've seen what you look like and I see what you wear. All right. You wear jerseys of other men more than you wear another jersey that represents something that you did. All right, Bob. So don't come in here and throw stones about me wearing a homeless guy's bucket hat. This bucket hat is electric and you're jealous that you can't pull it off. All right? You stooge. Good night. Fucking Bob. Bob's on one today. Curtis says, Zia, you want the truth and to laugh your ass off. I have a bunion and can only wear my J's for a couple hours out before I have to change. People always say it to me, Curtis. They can't wear J's for a long time. I could put my 3s on for all day. I've never had an issue. ever. The only ones sometimes I got an issue with are the ones, and I have to get the OG ones. I can't get any because the hard tab, like I got these, I can't wear these. I probably never worn these once because they're not very cool, honestly. They're hemps. But this hard ass tongue, oh dude, it's brutal. Brutal. I can't deal with that. That's why I like these softer tongue on the OG ones. Much better for my foot. All right. Where's this dumbass Bob Brown? Did Bob ever check back in? Fucking Bob Brown. Zander on the bullshit there. I am. No, my feet are good, Abe. What are you talking about? I got big ass wide feet. I'm telling you, the threes are perfect for me. Always have been. I like the threes and the fours. 11s I like, but I can't really pull it off. No, I'm not giving you shit for the bunion, Curtis. All right? I'm not giving you shit. I'm here, Junior. Oh, where'd you get that from? Cilio? Come on, Bob. How about an original thought, Bob? How about an original thought? I love Bob. Yeah, I know what it is. Bob, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry you just weren't dope, man. I'm sorry you're on the other side of your prime now and you're looking at me on this screen and you're like, man, I didn't do that. I couldn't have done that in my heyday. What happened? It's all right, Bob. You know, Chris A.M. brought up to me that the Holy Week's coming up. You know, we got Palm Sunday on Sunday. I'll say a prayer for you that you couldn't, you know, that you just, that I hope God has blessed you with some other things, all right? Yeah, Twiz, don't get me started on this. I am fully aware that I do not have A1 beard genetics, but I'm trying, okay? I'm trying, Twiz. I'm going to let it grow for like a month. It's only been 2 weeks, so it's not, you know, it's not too bad for 2 weeks. You know, give me a month. Let's see what it looks like. All right. Twiz is chirping. I knew I was going to get somebody chirping about that. Actually, if I had a bet on who it would have been Twiz. It would have been Twiz. Bob Brown wasn't crushing anything. Brian Fleming, stop. Brian, I've done enough of that in my life to know. Okay. Bob Brown wasn't crushing anything. Come on. John Wick is done. I wanted John Wick to win because my dog's name is Johnson. Yes, if you wanted to know how Philly I was at college at the University of Alabama, and I wanted my dog to have some resemblance to Philadelphia. All right. Bob Brown, these aren't even good chirps. You should hope you get to your prime. The beard looked good. The shit you're throwing, the ass hairs are tight. I don't even know what you're talking about now, Bob Brown. Just a weak comment, bro. It's not your best work. You know, Bob, say Lord, and he's got a lot of better comments than this. Twiz the Jigga, much better at chirping than you. You know, Twiz, Bob, why don't you stick to your deep philosophical football takes where you profess from the mountaintop of this is the right take on football, you know? Why don't you stick to those? Okay, Bob? Yeah, it's true. The most generic name in the world, and he's chirping me. Fucking Bob. Yo, Bob, you want some smoke? You're getting it. Confirm! One shovel! Start! 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, South Jersey D. I'm going to say South Jersey B. Because I know some of you pause no ditties, all right? I know some of you pause no ditties. All right? Leader of the Freemasonry. What are you talking about? I'm a proud Catholic. You cannot be a Catholic and a Freemason, A-Track. I'm sorry, you can't be. All right? You cannot be that. So, no. That is another incorrect take by the greatness of A-Track. Come on, A-Track. If Bob wins the giveaway, you know, Eduardo, I hold the cards, Eduardo. I hold the cards. That's a lie, Xander? No, it's not, Dank. You can be a fake one or the other, but you can't be a true Catholic and be a Freemason. Ready? New one. One shuffle. Start. Come on, man. I'm in a good mood. Can we get a winner? I'm going to dub Chris AM the winner today. 3, 2, 1. Devin Parker. Good winner. Is he here? Come on, Devin. Come on, Devin. Well, look, Dank, there's corruptness in everything, dude. You know, there's 1.5 billion Catholics in the world. I think it might be more than that now. All right. I mean, come on. There's going to be some corruption. You know, I always get a kick out of that. Like, everybody loves the cast stones. It'll be noon till we get this winner. Brian, you still got time, bro. You still got time. And boy, let me tell you, I'm feeling good in this bucket. So I might stay on here all day. Especially now that Bob Brown doesn't like it. Now I know it's a winner. Now I know it's a winner. Devin, are you out there? Z, can you spin it more than once? I've spun it like 30 times. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, sig Lord. That's a good chirp. Hey, listen, for Bob Brown, who's been in here chirping, he better be able to take some chirps. All right? He better be able to take some chirps. Believe me, Dank, I've read it all, brother. Don't worry. I've read everything. All right? Doesn't bother me. Devin! I thought you were here, bro. Z, I emailed you a pic of my J collection. Is that right? Let me look if that picture is in my inbox. Ooh. All right, Curtis. You got the wet cements. I like those. Okay, this is an acceptable collection here. Okay, Curtis, I take it back. Curtis, I take it back. All right, I like it. I like what you're working with. I thought Devin was here today. Is he not here? He's done. Sorry, Devin. You're out of here. All right, we'll do... What number is Nolan Smith? He's 3, right? He's 3, right? Curtis, I do like your collection. You got some good ones there. 1 shuffle. 2 shuffles. 3 shuffles. Start. Oh, God. There's Twiz. 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. Cue the God. Come on. Where are we going with this? Come on, cue the God. Twiz, did you have to go there, bro? I like his shoes. I mean, come on, Twiz. Come on, Twiz. I'm going to have to delete that comment. I'm going to have to censor the chat after that. All right. Q-tip to gone. That's a good one, Rich. Yeah, Kurt, Twiz. Hey, leave it to Twiz to go down the Diddy road. Diddy Twiz. Twiz Diddy. All right. Twiz Diddy. The Diddler. Bob disappeared. He got upset that I chirped him. That's all right. Bob wishes he could rock this bucket, and he can't. And now you guys are realizing that I can rock it very well. All right. Bob's kids woke up. No, you mean his grandkids? Not his kids. Oh, my God. Bob, not even a good chirp. Is that your bucket crochet? Did your Nana make it? No, I'm a Kango guy. I wear a lot of Kangos. My dog died and he's black and white. I went on Kango's site and they had black and white hats that looked like my dog. I said, I'm going to order those Kangos because I wear Kangos every day. And that one's black and white. Reminds me of my pup and his cool, unique coat. No, My Nana didn't make it. No, but the Kanga was dope. Bob, not even a good chirp. You took like 8 minutes to respond, and that's what you came up with? Did my Nana make it? By the way, rest in peace, my beautiful Nana. She was the greatest Nana ever. She really was a special, special, special woman, my Nana. For the Catholics in the room, my Nana was the OG, man. She was the best Catholic ever. I'll never forget, like when I was a kid, I went to Catholic grade school, and you go to church, you'd have church, like a couple days a week that you go to church in the morning. Nana always, every morning, was always in church. You know, I waved her. I was in my little Catholic school outfit. She was friends with all the nuns, and the nuns were mad at me because I was bad. I was not a good student. All right. It's just a nightmare. All right, let's do this. Ready? One shuffle. Nope, not that one. One shuffle. Two shuffles. Three shuffles. Come on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Bird Gang Girl! Another win for Bird Gang Girl! Woo! Bird Gang Girl with the W. And I know she's in here. See, there's a lesson. Bird Gang Girl is a lesson, okay? She is a lesson. Bird Gang Girl, I'm going to use you as an example today, and a good example at that. Bird Gang Girl, and this, you know, Kirsten, I'm going to say this, and it surprises me that you haven't fallen into this category too, all right? Bird Gang Girl is an everyday listener, and I've never seen her throw stones at Z, okay? I've never seen her throw stones at Z. All right. And I'm not saying I don't like a couple stones. Twiz throws stones. Other people throw stones that have won before. But this is now 3 W's for Bird Gang Girl. 3 W's for Bird Gang Girl. I don't think that's a coincidence. Bird Gang Girl, congrats. And yes, I already know what shirt you want. I have the small signature shirt, Bird Gang Girl, and it's been put aside for you. All right. Thank you so much for your support, Bird Gang Girl. It does mean a lot to me. You're here every day, and I appreciate you so much. All right. I appreciate you so much. That's a three-peat. All right. That's a three-peat for you. Okay. Appreciate you, Bird Gang Girl. I will get that shirt out to you. I might ship it today if I can. I already got your. I got your stuff. Wait, let me see. Bird Gang Girl, can you DM me so I can make sure I got your address again? Why don't I see you? Just up it and I'll do it. Yeah, that's true. Curtis says, if you don't throw stones, you don't get the pleasure of Z chirping back at you. Siglord, here's one thing I'll say about you. You got good lashings. You're good at lashing. You're good at roasting people. Not everybody's good at roasting people. Like Bob Brown's like good football takes, but like the worst roaster I've ever heard in my life. I mean, some of those roasts were just brutal. I mean, they were brutal. They were almost unreadable. All right. Look at Dio crying like a little biatch. Yo, Dio. Cry to somebody who gives. Okay? I'm done with the tears. Dio. Oh my gosh. If she takes the small, what is Ryan going to wear? Ryan. Oh, poor Ryan. Little Ryan. Poor Ryan. Oh my goodness. It's funny how dope this bucket hat is. It's hilarious how dope this bucket hat is. You know, the way I work is the more people that chirp it, the more I like it. That's just how I work. You know, it's like when I was a kid, they said, you can't do this. I'm like, well, now I want to do that. I didn't want to do it before you said it. But now that you said I can't do it, I have to do it. It's a mental game, baby. It's a mental game, baby. I tried, Z. You did try. Curtis, you know what? You put in a lot of You put in a lot of time. I do appreciate that, Curtis. I thought it was pretty cool. I should just try and see if there's a way I could troubleshoot that file, and open it on a Mac somehow. Okay. Our small's free shipping. Rich, I don't charge anybody who wins a giveaway for any shipping. All right. Bird Gang Girl, congrats on the W. Let me write it down on my list real quick just so I don't forget you. I will not, though. Never forget any of my people. Bird Gang Girl. Small signature t-shirt. All right. All right. That's listed down. Congrats, Bird Gang Girl. Congrats, Bird Gang Girl. All right, now I have to do a legend winner. Watch, Bob Brown. My prediction for today's legend winner will be Bob Brown. It will be Bob Brown. Is Philly Don in here? I haven't seen Philly Don in a bit. Let me reach out to Philly Don. Is he all right? Don, I haven't seen you in a bit. You all right, brother? I don't know where my boy Don's been. Don's normally in here. You guys seen Don? Oh, he was here yesterday? All right, I didn't see him. I didn't see him. Oh, look. Oh, Dio, did I hurt your feelings? No tears, bitch. I don't care either. I buy my own shit. Oh, Dio. Dio. What's the matter, Dio? What's the matter, Dio? Dio. Are you sad today, Dio? Maybe there's something I can do to help. Nah, Prince. I saw Prince yesterday. He was on Cilio with me yesterday. Prince was on there yesterday on Cilio. All right, let me get these legends. It's hard to. I always got to do sort by. No. Sort by current level, right? Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. Now I got my legends. B. Howe, Brandon Howard. Who's our longest? It might be Terry Hayes. Nope. Jason A-Team. Is it Jason A-Team? Jason A-Team is our longest standing legend member. I just predicted Bob Brown was going to win. Bob just canceled his legend because I chirped him. He called me a homeless guy. I chirped him back and he canceled. Bob's out of here. There he is right there. White chocolate coffee. Kirsten, that's a violation. White chocolate coffee? The heck is that? What the heck is white chocolate coffee? You got to be kidding me. Yo, thanks, A-Team. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Bob, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, Bob. Oh, Bob. Bob, I'm kidding, Bob. Oh my God, Bob. Star Schmucks. All right, here we go. My prediction is Bob Brown's the winner today. Let's see if I'm right. We'll do one shuffles for the greatness of Jalen Hurts. Is Curtis a legend? Curtis, are you a legend? Let me see. No, you're not. All right. I was going to say, I might predict you to win. All right. Start! Come on! It's a legend giveaway. 3, 2, 1. Brian Fleming! Yeah, Fleming! Are you still here? Or did you go to the bathroom like you always say you got to? All right? I do not take ADHD meds, Bob. That is crazy talk. Nah, I ain't taking them drugs. That's fake news. Fake news, Brown. Again. Generic Bob. That's what I'm going to start calling you, Bob. Generic Bob. Until you prove you're not generic, I'll be calling you Generic Bob. Where's my boy Fleming? There he is. There he is. Fleming, I'm about to drive this to you because I don't feel like shipping it to your ass. Actually, Fleming, wait a second. I'm supposed to be in Chatham tomorrow. Aren't you up that way or no? I thought I were. Chatham, are you close to Chatham? I might have to meet you face to face, Fleming. You're a funny ass dude anyway. I kind of want to meet you. You're in Haddonfield. All right, no, wait. That's Chatham, New Jersey. Chatham, New Jersey. There you go. There's my boy Philly Don just reached back to me. Don, if you're listening, I appreciate you, brother. We miss you in the chat. All right. He says he's painting a house. So good stuff for Bob. He's helping his buddy. So there you go. Philly Don is a good guy, helping his friend out. Yeah, you're in dirty South Jersey. I got you. I'm going up north. My brother's up there. Rich. My brother's up there. My brother who's at the Masters today. So he flies back home tomorrow morning. And I'm helping him do some work in his house because he's got the baby coming. His baby's due in May. So I'm helping them just they got some man work to do. I got to paint and do some stuff for him. So to get the nursery set up. So I'm going up there and I just want to see my brother. My brother's my best friend, man. My brother's my best friend. I told you guys, I didn't have a lot of friends outside of my family, you guys, and my dog. That's why I miss my dog so much. All right. How many nieces, nephews I got? I'm up to 4 now. Well, 4, it'll be 4 in May, Kirsten. It'll be 4 in May. But remember, I have an older sister, my half-sister, Brittany. She's got the 3 kids. 2 of her kids are my godkids. I got my godson, Luke, who we just baptized, and my goddaughter, Amelia Bell. Beautiful Amelia Bell. I was hanging out with her all weekend. Actually, I'll show you guys a picture of me with my godkids. Me with my godkids. Look, there's me sitting working in Florida with my godkids. Well, JP's not my godson. He's my brother's godson. But there's JP. There's Amelia Bell. And we're all sitting on the couch outside of their Florida house working. Pretty cool, right? I love that picture of us working together. Look at us. Great kids. They're really great kids. They really are. They're great kids. There's JP. He's the best, man. JP is the actual best. He is such a great kid, man. Such a great kid. Oh, look. Here's me in the Philly airport with they had like this Eagles thing. They had the Eagles thing in the Philly airport. So I'm like, let me go take a pic. Pretty dope, right? Whoa, Curtis, you live by Augusta? That's dope, dude. I didn't know you lived down there, Curtis. That is sweet, bro. I thought you meant 10 minutes from where my brother lives in Chatham, New Jersey. Yeah, Brian Fleming, their house is awesome, dude, in Florida. Because I'm not a huge fan of Florida homes just because they all feel so close. They live in this cul-de-sac. They have their own yard outside of the fence, this big, huge fenced-in the pool area. They got 2 separate yards for the kids, a long driveway, major privacy. It's one of my favorite Florida houses I've ever seen. Thinking about getting another dog. Wilfredo, I'm 100% getting another dog. All right? 100%. All right? So, Kirsten, I told you that I got three nieces and nephews. My brother is the only one of the 4 siblings who are married. I'll probably be next. Then Kateri and then Isabel. They're my 2 younger sisters. So I still got a long way to go. None of us have really started having kids yet, except for my oldest sister. And then now my brother's up. He's having his first kid next month. And I'm going to be the godfather of his daughter, his beautiful daughter. Kennedy, her name is. So her name's going to be Kennedy. My brother's name initials are JFK. Joseph is his first name. Joseph Frank Krause. So JFK, those have been his initials. So I think it's pretty cool they're naming their first daughter Kennedy. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So I'll have 3 god kids out of the first 4 of my nieces and nephews. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But that's a great honor. You know, not everybody takes being a godparent seriously. I take it very seriously. I take it very seriously. I really do. All right. I take being a godfather very seriously. All right. Our winners are done for the day. We got 2 winners. All right. Fleming and Bird Gang Girl, 2 great winners today. 2 great winners today. Brian Fleming. Here we go. Brian Fleming. Oh, Brian, what shirt do you want? I got a hat for you too. But somebody already claimed the black hat, so you're getting a green hat. All right. Wilfredo, I'm the kind of guy that loves getting gifts for people, though. All right, I really do. I love getting gifts. I'll buy. I balled out. Actually, Wilfredo, one of my favorite things is it's so easy to gift for the kids, man. They love. Like I got them great Christmas gifts. But when I went down to Florida this week, I had to run to CVS the night before we flew out. My girl had a headache or something. I forget what I had to get at CVS, but I went there for something. And on the walk out, there is a little toy, like I want to say it was like a 1/24th scale, maybe Mustang. And he loves cars. He loves cars because of me, I think. I always tell him I love cars. And I always buy him cars for Christmas. I got him a remote control Corvette, a Corvette Z06. It's sick. And I got him this Mustang. So I brought it on Saturday when I flew there, dude. He played with that Mustang all weekend. And he had show and tell on Tuesday. Wait, I have a great picture for you guys. On show and tell Tuesday, he brought the Mustang. But remember, I showed you, my sister went to the University of Florida. So after they won the national championship, this is JP. And what do you notice about this picture? He's doing the Gator thing. He's doing the Gator thing because they're Gator fans. She went to the University of Florida. What do you notice about JP? All right. What do you notice about JP? What do you notice about JP? Yeah, David. Yes, sir, David. Kango. So I brought this Kango, and this is the one that tightens. He took that thing so fast, and he's like, I'm going to keep this and think of you, Uncle Z. So there he is with the Kango on. And he wore it to school. Isn't that dope? That's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Life is beautiful, man. There's a lot of beautiful things that happen in life. Life is beautiful. I see my boy Chuck says, Zander, I suggest getting a rescue for your next dog. They appreciate it. Chuck, I rescued the dog I just had, brother. I rescued him when I was at the University of Alabama. Let's be real. My dog was probably going to die if I didn't rescue him. At the SPCA in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I rescued him when he was 4 months old. So he was pretty young. But I rescued him, and I would say there's a 95% chance I'll rescue my next dog. Chuck, I like rescuing, man. I do. I think it's, like you said, I think it's meaningful. You know, I think it's meaningful. I really do. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, he already's got swag, Abe. You know he's going to have swag with his Uncle Z. All right. So pretty good picture, though. I thought you guys would like that picture of him rocking the Kango. Did I get any other good pictures of me this weekend? No, not really. Maybe somebody took some, but yeah, JP's a cute kid, man. He's a cute kid. He's a good kid, too. He's a genuinely good kid, man. But they love their uncle. He likes Mustangs and Kangos. I mean, what do we got? Huh, Bob? Generic Bob. Yeah, I hear you, Twiz. I get both sides, but, you know, if I can, Twiz, if it works for me, I like to rescue. All right, everybody. I appreciate it. Great show today, man. A little fun. Had fun on Zander time. Feeling better today for sure, man. I was in the dumps. I was upset, man. I had a tough couple of days. It was tough to do the morning shows just because I woke up and was like, I just don't want to talk on camera right now for a couple of hours. I'm not going to lie. So you work through it. You grind through it. That's part of life. You can't do everything you want to do in life. All right. That's how life works. So I'm not complaining about it, but today I'm feeling much better, which is a good thing. All right, which is a good thing. So I appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate Curtis. Appreciate A-Team. Bob Brown, you know I love you. I'm just messing with you, brother. And I know you're just messing with me, but you know I love you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Twiz, David LaPrade, Curtis, as always. Wilfredo, my boy Wilfredo. Chris AM, let's give another thanks real quick to Chris AM. Chris, I put my email in the chat. I'd really like it if you email me, bro. All right, please email me. I want to send you something. I want to send you something, too, that's a little bit more meaningful than Eagles, too, now that I know you're a devout Catholic. All right? I'd like to send you something special, all right? So, yeah, D. Hughes, you pointed out. So when the summer comes, I get real tan. But I got to get my base first, so I haven't been out in the sun at all. And when I was flying home Wednesday night, I was supposed to be there all week with my girl. It's her birthday. You know, it's her birthday on Saturday, so I apologize to her for not being there. But we went to the beach for like literally 90 minutes. 90 minutes. I'm like, she's like, you want sunblock? I don't wear sunblock. I never wear sunblock. I never have. I'm like, nah, I'm good. We're only here for a little bit. I'm like, burnt. I'm like, what the hell, man? This Florida sun is something different. That Florida sun is something different, brother. All right? That Florida sun is something different. There's no doubt. Brian says I'm white AF because I'm Irish. Take it easy, Zay. I'm Rice. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Nah, man, you need sunblock. Oh, A-Team, you sound like my girl. Shut up. All right? Burn once, then tan as heck afterward. Yep, that's what I do. I normally don't burn either in the beginning. Where's the picture of me with... Bro, I get tan in the summer. I get, like, legitimately dark. You should see my sister. My sister gets insane. There's one picture of me that I have with me and my dog in the summer, and I'm just tan as hell in it. But, all right, everybody. Fun show today. Congrats to our two winners, Bird Gang Girl and Brian Fleming, the GOAT. Appreciate you all. Chris AM, please email me, Chris AM. I want to send you something, bro. I got something for you. Jason 18, Kirsten Carter, Bird Gang Girl, Cody K, M. Reyes, my boy M. Reyes. All right. Brian Fleming, Mad Bird, Bird Gang Girl, El Yepa. What's up, El Yepa? Curtis, thank you, Curtis. David LaPrade, thank you, bro. You noticed the can go first. JP Zander's twin. Yeah, JP's a little legend, bro. All right. JP's a legend. But I appreciate all you guys. All right. There's Howard. Says the Celtic blood, turn lobster, peel, and then repeat. I'm sorry for you, Howard. That does not happen to me at all. All right. No, I'm the opposite. I take 2 days to tan, Curtis, and 5 months to lose it. See, who watched me last summer? I was dark last summer. Did anybody watch me last summer? We got a lot of new people in here. But, no. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all. I'll see you next time. We'll be live 2 to 6 today in the National Football Show. Nothing like a football Friday with the greatness of Big Sills. So we'll do that later on today. And a big thanks to all the great people. Chris A.M. mainly, who dropped a $100 super chat, gifted 20 members today. Thank you, bro. Really, it means a lot to me. Fly Eagles Fly with the super chat. Bird Gang Girl with the super chat. Tyler Braswell, member for 26 months. That's over 2 years. Tyler, thank you, man. Thank you. Bird Gang dropped a super chat. Brian Pumper dropped a super chat. Bird Gang dropped a couple super chats. Abe with the member chat for 8 months. Thank you, Abe. Philip Colin dropped a super chat. Thank you, Philip. And thank you to all the great people who support this show each and every single day. All right. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.